Chapter 188, Evolution of Twin Martial Spirits. Chapter 188, Evolution of the Twin Martial Spirits. Yan, of course, knew where these milky water drops came from, and also the magical effects from these water drops. His spirit went into his flesh and carefully looked at those milky water drops. Yan quickly pondered in his brain. This strange power can gather and enhance martial souls, can vigorous the profound qi, and there were many other magical uses from it. He had always known that this power had been a great benefit on him. But looks like this magical power still not all been refined and fully integrated into his body. After receiving the message from Ice Cold Flame, Yan didn't hesitate too much. With just a little thought, he immediately decided to try to fuse them into cells and body so that they can really become nutrients for the flesh. Inside the body, the intense fire energy started flowing in his meridians and scattered into his whole body. Under the refinement from the body, the flesh was tempered so that the flesh became more powerful and can be more adapted to gather power and profound qi rampage. After operating the refinement until now, Yan already has his own insights toward refining the body with fire. He knew that this refinement was very strange. After his body has been refined by the core fire, his body began to change. These milky water drops aren't the water from your body and can't be evaporated by the fire. You just need to use the fire energy to melt these milky water drops, and they will overflow in your cells, fiber, and flesh. In fact, it isn't difficult. What you need to do is just infuse a small fire point into the milky water drops. The ice-cold flame sensed Yan has begun and explained in a detailed way. Yan immediately comprehended. After the fire energy has been magnified several times, it became a tiny fire point. Those fire point were the core for the fire energy and scattered in the Yan body. As long as he used the mind to control these fire point and infuse it into the milky water drops, then the water drops will be dissolved and scattered in the flesh and cells. Yan began to try. As he focused on one point, his mind began to expand like a magnifying glass. Finding the meridians which filled with the fire energy, controlling it, and then fusing it into the flesh of the chest. After he magnified unlimited amount of times, the fire gradually changed, and it became a firelight that was formed of numerous fire points. Yan concentrated his spirit power, and his spirit power instantly divided into numerous small power which were injected into those fire points and tried to control those fire points, so they moved toward the area of that milky water drops. It was very smooth. The tens of thousands of fire points inside his flesh began to coincide with those milky water drops. An extremely wonderful feeling suddenly formed in the heart. Yan was clearly aware that in his chest there was a warm current. That warm current was like some kind of nutrients, which was being spread in his flesh. With joy in his heart, Yan endured the pain in his flesh and began to change the whole body. Time passed quickly. Inside the lava, Yan was cultivating the extreme refining and changing the mysterious power inside his body into milky water drops, injecting the fire energy as his body slowly changed. Don't know how long it has been, and how many times refining. One day, Yan woke up again and his eyes shone brightly, like stars in the night sky. The ice-cold flame was very cooperative. It immediately spread out the fire energy and stopped the fire energy. How? The ice-cold flame asked. Yan smiled. With a single thought, his skin suddenly turned yellow-green color. The third stage of petrification martial spirit. Holding the dragon-slaying sword, he gently scratched on his arm and a scar appeared. When the scar appeared, his flesh seemed to suddenly become alive, while slowly crawling with speed that can be seen by eyes, quickly began to restore the scar. When the wound appeared, the healing has already started too. The wounded body from the battle already can recover in middle of the battle. This was the third stage of the immortal martial spirit. The twin martial spirits both evolved. Impressive. The ice-cold flame was surprised too. Looks like this extreme refining is indeed very suitable for you. After this period of hard cultivating, your body has already been tempered numerous times. Not only can it withstand with the fire energy, but even both your martial spirits evolve too. Good, this is really good. Shiryen looked happy. I am now more and more feel that it was a correct decision for me to agree with your term. Of course, I had said that you definitely won't regret it. The ice-cold flame said proudly, look at the soul-gathering pearl. Now the pearl has also been refined and already has a spirit power. The pearl can't be put on the fire crystal anymore, or the spirit power will be damaged by the core fire. Now it is the time for us to leave here. Shiryen startled and looked at the soul-gathering pearl. Don't know since when the soul-gathering pearl transformed into dark blue color. The pearl was smooth and translucent and seems like there was a strange essence flowing in it. There was no more strange black smoke rising from the soul-gathering pearl, and the soul-gathering pearl that fell on the fire crystal already no longer have the ability to absorb the soul. After being burnt for some time, the soul-gathering pearl has already been refined into pure spirit power. From now on, this soul-gathering pearl is no longer a magical treasure, but just a container. After leaving here, it will still need some time, so that the spirit power in it can be precipitated before it can be absorbed. What about the core fire? The life form from core fire hasn't yet completely formed, but it should imminent. After this stage, the fire energy from the 10,000-year-old volcano has already gathered in its body. Now its life form forming isn't related to the 10,000-year-old volcano. What it needs right now is just time, so you can take it with you. Take it with me? Shiryen pondered for a moment. He took out the purified bottle, holding in his palm said, this thing, in the first time, I wanted to use this to contain it. Look, can this thing contain the core fire? The ice-cold flame didn't immediately answer, but quietly observed the bottle. After a while, the ice-cold flame relayed, no, if the core fire didn't evolve, it can be contained, but now it already can't. This bottle is sealed and the air can't flow out. The material in this bottle will also limit its ability and will be detrimental toward its evolution, so it can't be used. Shiryen was stunned. The purified bottle was really used to store the core fire, but now, the core fire was in a special form, which is in the stage of evolution to become sky fire and forming a complete life form. In this stage, the confinement from the purified bottle will interfere with the core fire evolution, and its evolution may occur a misfortune. If can't contain it, then it's difficult to take it with me. Shiryen hesitated for a moment and asked, is there no other way? Not really. The ice-cold flame hesitated a bit and immediately said, did you forget where I am? Shiryen's eyes widened. This ring is very magical. It can contain life soul. If I can enter it, then the core fire should be able to. But I don't know if this ring will limit the core fire or not, which depends on you if you can completely control this ring. And there is one more problem. What? Because I am inside it, that guy maybe not dare to come in it, the ice-cold flame proudly said. Don't say now. Even if it really formed a complete life form of its own, it will still not be my opponent. I am its natural nemesis. As long as you don't release your presence and it can't feel it, that should be all right. If it didn't come in yet, I can hide my presence, but after inside the ring, I can't hide it anymore, and once it found me inside it, it would feel that you have deceived it, which this is not what you would like to see. Not this, not that, then what should I do? I won't hide my presence, and you try to communicate with it. If its affection toward you surpassed the fear of me, it should take the initiative to come in. Only this way will not affect its feeling toward you. Remember, once it felt that you deceived it, it would never take initiative to be friendly with you. I will try. Shiryen took a deep breath, concentrated his spirit power, and tried to add some of the fire energy presence inside his body, and quietly got near to the fire crystal where the core fire reside. After feeling Shiryen's spirit power, the core fire was very pleased and took the initiative to come near, tightly warping Shiryen's spirit power. Shiryen wasn't anxious, but accompanied to play with it first, and exchanged simple communication with spirit power. Until Shiryen felt that his communication with it was in the most harmonious atmosphere, he wrapped some of core fire consciousness, brought it out from the fire crystal jade, came to where he was and stretched out the hand with the blood ring, telling the ice-cold flame to release his presence by using his mind. When the ice-cold flame presence flew out from the blood ring, the core fire consciousness was like a frightened bird, and immediately fled back to the fire crystal jade regardless the retainment from Shiryen's spirit power. Shuryen couldn't help but sigh, quickly caught up with his spirit power and tried to explain his intention. The core fire was very afraid and became very frightened, and kept changing into a variety of frightened forms inside the fire crystal. No matter how Shuryen tried to entice it, it won't come out from the fire crystal. Didn't work. After a long time, Shuryen consciousness returned and communicated with the ice-cold flame helplessly. No, you almost succeed. Unexpectedly, the ice-cold flame replied an unexpected answer. What? Shuryen was stunned. I said you almost succeeded. The ice-cold flame replied again, and its mood was quite excited. This ring, where it came from. How did you get it? Just now, didn't you feel the changes within the ring? What changes? Shuryen was baffled. Your ring, after it felt the approach from the core fire, it immediately began to seal my presence. After the core fire left, my presence already had been blocked. And inside the ring, it has opened up a new space. Inside that space, it actually formed a small fire crystal jade. What? Shuryen surprised. This ring used the fire energy that was flowing in and magically formed a fire crystal jade and sealed my power. It already prepared everything for the arrival of core fire. It knew what you wanted to do and made prepared in advance for you. Your ring, where did it come from? I have been inside the ring, but I can't feel the presence from the ring spirit. This ring is a divine item. Translated by Y. Chapter 189, Exit. Chapter 189, Exit. In the bottom of the lava pool, Shuryen's face was filled with shock. The series of thoughts from the ice-cold flame brought the blood vein ring to another astonishing level. And it also made him realize, for the first time, that the blood vein ring was no ordinary thing. As a sky fire, the ice-cold flame had a shocking sense and insight. It was also inside the blood vein ring. If even the ice-cold flame couldn't sense the ring spirit inside the blood vein ring, it could be seen as to how mysterious and strange the blood vein ring was. Feeling the approach of the core fire, the blood vein ring sealed all the presence of ice-cold flame's power. It used the fire power that it absorbed in these days and formed into the core fire's favorite fire crystal jade. IE made all preparations and reopened a space to be fully prepared for the arrival of the core fire. If someone were to say that there was no ring spirit in the blood vein ring, even Shuryen wouldn't believe it. This ring is extraordinary. Normal magic space rings can only store items, they can never store living souls. But your ring is completely different. It seems to be unable to store items, but it can store living entities like my own. Even I cannot feel the existence of the ring spirit. This ring spirit is definitely no small matter. Shuryen could clearly feel that there was more presence or power of the ice-cold flame flowing out of the blood vein ring. The blood vein ring seemed to have completely sealed the ice-cold flame and made the ice-cold flame unable to release its power out. Other than still being able to communicate with Shuryen's soul, the ice-cold flame could no longer do anything else. At the same time, Shuryen, who was inside the hard ice, suddenly started to feel the fire power around him getting stronger and stronger. I can't keep putting power into the hard ice that is covering your body. That hard ice will hold up for 1 to 2 days at most, then it will completely melt away. You need to immediately call out to the core fire and make it get inside the blood vein ring on its own before the hard ice melts. Or else you will need to leave immediately. Although your body already has some firepower, you still can't survive under the lava pool. The ice-cold flame seemed slightly urgent. It hurriedly clarified the newest situation to Shuryen. Being inside the lava pool, his surroundings were covered by the thickest lava. The reason why he could stay here all along was because the ice-cold flame kept putting its cold energy into the hard ice covering his body, making him safe and sound. Once that layer of hard ice melts, his body would be completely revealed. Shuryen did not want to die. When he received the message from the ice-cold flame, he didn't dare to hesitate. Shuryen immediately spread out his consciousness and slowly approached the fire crystal jade where the 10,000-year-old core fire was at. Once his consciousness touched the fire crystal jade, the 10,000-year-old Saray fire inside immediately became active again. But this time when Shuryen wanted to make its consciousness leave the fire crystal jade, it did not budge. It was obviously scared by the ice-cold flame's presence a while ago. The core fire won't come out, but the hard ice covering his body was slowly melting. More and more fire power slowly seeped through. Shuryen began to feel anxious. It won't listen to me. Is there another way? No. Other than making it leave the fire crystal jade on its own, there is no other way. How about let us just leave here first? Next time when you get to understand the secrets of the ring, we can come here to collect the core fire again? Decide quickly. If it's too late, it would be very difficult for you to float up to the surface alive. The ice-cold flame also had no methods to use. It just persuaded Shuryen to leave as soon as possible. Shuryen's face was full of worry. He was thinking at a great speed, but had no ideas. The blood vein ring has a ring spirit. Even though the ring spirit did not expose itself, it seemed to know his thoughts. Since it did open up a space inside the ring and formed fire crystal jade, then it obviously wanted to let the core fire in. Since that's the case, then won't the blood vein ring have some sort of way? Shuryen didn't know, but he decided to take his chances. After hesitating for a moment, he took off the blood vein ring from his finger and suddenly threw it towards the core fire. At the same time, Shuryen immediately concentrated his thoughts and used his consciousness to communicate with the core fire, persuading the core fire to enter into the blood vein ring. The blood vein ring shot towards the fire crystal jade in the lava, and halfway the blood vein ring suddenly turned into a beam of firelight, with its surface was covered with fire. A flow of strange fire presence overflowed from that blood vein ring. Shuryen was stunned. His eyes immediately brightened. The blood vein ring seemed to really know his thoughts. The blood vein ring forwardly formed fire power on its own and released a fiery presence. That was exactly what the 10,000-year-old core fire liked. Once the 10,000-year-old core fire could no longer feel the presence of the ice-cold flame inside the blood vein ring, and instead it felt the fire power that it liked the most. With the persuasion of Shuryen's consciousness, it definitely could be shaken, and enter the blood vein ring on its own. A light flashed in his mind. Shuryen concentrated and communicated with the consciousness of the 10,000-year-old core fire. He kept persuading it to enter the blood vein ring on its own and spreaded his friendliness and sincerity. The blood vein ring fell on top of the fire crystal jade. Pang! Clusters of flames appeared on both the fire crystal jade and the blood vein ring. In those flames, there seemed to be the presence of the core fire, and it was extremely hot. Inside the fire crystal jade, that cluster of fist-sized 10,000-year-old core fire was still shifting into different forms. It seemed to have not left the fire crystal jade yet. It only released a small portion of its power to probe around the blood vein ring, wanting to see what exactly was inside of the blood vein ring, and if it could enter or not. Shuryen sensed the carefulness of the core fire. Without urging it with his consciousness, Shuryen only silently waited, and waited for the core fire's decision. The fire power of the 10,000-year-old core fire quietly creeped into the blood vein ring and secretly inspected the blood vein ring. It wanted to see if this small little ring was a resting place that it could be satisfied with. The hard ice that covered his body was becoming more and more intolerably hot. There were traces of sweat on Shuryen's forehead. He felt slightly nervous inside. Time was passing silently. With every second that passed, the hard ice would melt a bit more. If this were to drag on for too long, it would be very difficult for him to leave this lava pool alive. After God knows how long, when Shuryen's entire body was covered with sweat, the core fire finally started to move. The core fire inside the fire crystal jade rose like fumes and slowly appeared from inside the fire crystal jade. With a trusting attitude towards Shuryen, the core fire suddenly wrapped around the blood vein ring. That cluster of fist-sized 10,000-year-old core fire, under Shuryen's watch, turned smaller bit by bit. Shuryen could see that wisps of fire slowly flew into the blood vein ring and towards the little piece of fire crystal jade inside the blood vein ring. Shuryen's face was filled with joy. Without blinking, he stared at that 10,000-year-old core fire. Very soon, the fist-sized core fire completely disappeared inside the blood vein ring. After the core fire disappeared, the blood vein ring glowed in a flickering bright red aura. The blood vein ring suddenly moved. A circle of red light rippled from it. The blood vein ring flew up from that fire crystal jade on its own. It floated inside the lava pool, moving slowly towards Shuryen. Shuryen did not hesitate. He reached his hand to grab out and caught the blood vein ring with one hand, then put it back on his finger. He sank his consciousness into the blood vein ring. Inside the blood vein ring, there was a strange swirl that wrapped the ice-cold flame, completely sealing the presence and power of the ice-cold flame. In another area, a little fire crystal jade quietly stayed inside a fire space made by clusters of flames. Inside the fire crystal jade, a cluster of fire was abnormally active and kept shifting into different forms. The ice-cold flame and the 10,000-year-old core fire were all inside the blood vein ring. They were in two separate spaces and were clearly differentiated. Their individual powers actually didn't conflict with each other, and they did not affect each other. Shuryen's consciousness sank in, and he immediately felt the life fluctuations of the ice-cold flame and the happy consciousness of the core fire. Both fires were living together inside the blood vein ring. They each emitted their own life presence, but they seemed to be unable to sense each other. It was indeed magical. The ice-cold flame and the core fire, one was of extreme ice elements, and the other was of extreme fire elements. When the two fires were together, once their power interferes with each other, they will both be suppressed by one another. The ice-cold flame was a little alright, after all it was much stronger. But if this 10,000-year-old core fire, that didn't even completely evolve its living state yet, got suppressed by the ice-cold flame, it would be extremely harmful to its evolution. The blood vein ring split up two different spaces and separated the ice-cold flame and the 10,000-year-old core fire. Although they were both inside the blood vein ring, the power of the two were both limited in a small range. Not only did the power of the two sides not interfere with each other, even their life consciousnesses were separated, and they couldn't sense the existence of each other. It has entered? The ice-cold flame sent a message. Yes, it had entered. Then what are you staring around for? Aren't you going to get out of here quickly? All right, I'm beginning to float upwards. Splash! Shuryen poked his head out of the surface of the lava pool. His entire body was red, and there was only a light layer of white mist around his body. In that white mist, there was an ice-cold energy. The cold energy spread it out and countered the heat of the lava, such that Shuryen's body wouldn't be burnt. When he reached the surface of the lava pool, Shuryen set his mind at rest. The fire power of the lava here was actually much weaker. It was so weak that Shuryen felt like even if the power of the ice-cold flame were to be entirely used up, his body would still be able to handle it. Of course, Shuryen didn't waste any time. He didn't wait for the white mist to completely dissipate to try it out. Instead, he already started to climb up the red rocky walls. The dragon-slaying sword now showed its use. When he stabbed down, the red rocky wall would split open. Shuryen continuously swung the sword and petrified his body. He used his skin and flesh to touch the red rocky walls, but realized that his palm was only slightly painful. He was not actually hurt by that hot iron-like red rock wall. His body was refined by the fire power of the 10,000-year-old core fire and had already gotten used to the high temperature. After the petrification spirit reached the third stage, the defensive power of his body also rose to another level, making him fearless against the high temperature in this area. Very soon, with the help of the dragon-slaying sword, Shuryen slowly climbed up to the crater of the volcano. A round moon appeared high up in a starry night sky. Under the bright moonlight, Shuryen appeared from the crater, with his body all red. He raised his voice and shouted, "Master Emo, are you here?" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The sound of the cyan blood bat breaking through the wind suddenly came. In a short moment, a warrior in the first sky of the Earth realm came while riding a level 6 cyan blood bat. Young Master Yen, in this more than half a year of time, a big change happened in the Kiara Sea. Master Emo already returned to the Immortal Island ahead of us. He made me stay here and wait for you. That Shura blood guard bowed. Big change. Shuryen was stunned, he frowned and rose on top of the cyan blood bat. His face was full of confusion. Chapter 190. The Invasion of Demon Dwellers. Chapter 190. The Invasion of Demon Dwellers. 6 months ago, the Demon Dwellers entered the Kiara Sea from 7 space nodes. The Gate of Heaven leading to the 4th Demon Area has also been invaded by the Demon Dwellers. This time, the Demon Dwellers are very aggressive. After Commander Emo received the call, he returned to the Immortal Island to support. This Shura Blood Guard, which was called Tualuo, explained the recent situation to Shuryen after he mounted the Cyan Blood Bat. Through his story, Shuryen knew that he had been inside the volcano for 7 months. During these 7 months, there was a big unforeseen event occurred in Kiara Sea. After the Xia family learned that Xia Xinyan's soul had been damaged, they sent people to Fire Clouds Island and escorted Xia Xinyan back to the Xia family. None of the people in the Xia family believed that Shuryen can help Xia Xinyan regain back her consciousness. After they known from Qingman that Xia Xinyan's soul was damaged for the sake of saving Shuryen, they initially planned to condemn Shuryen. But Emo Duanhuan was guarding at the crater, and Shuryen still hadn't came out from the volcano, so they can't do anything and only postpone Shuryen's questioning, while bring back Xia Xinyan from the Fire Clouds Island. 6 months ago, the Demon Dwellers from the 4th Demon Area forcibly opened an unstable point in space and risked their lives to enter into Kiara Sea. The Demon Dwellers dispersed and aggressively attacked many islands. Space Node was similar to the Gate of Heaven, but was unstable. If you want to enter the Kiara Sea from the Space Node, there must be a Demon Dweller with great power to blast off the Space Node. In the Space Node, there were many space disturbance. This space disturbance was very dangerous for the Demon Dwellers who were wishing to travel through it. Normally, the Demon Dwellers didn't dare to enter the Kiara Sea through the Space Node, but if they did so, then there must be a very important thing behind it. During going through the point in space, the more powerful the Demon Dweller was, the more dangerous it will be for him. The possibility of death for Demon Dwellers in Nirvana Realm during passing the Space Node was very big, and for the Demon Dwellers in the Sky Realm, because their inner strength was too strong, the point in space might be destroyed. Therefore, the realm of Demon Dwellers passing the Space Node was not too high. As the Demon Dwellers passed through the Space Node, the 4th Demon Area and the Gate of Heaven were also being attacked aggressively by the Demon Dwellers. At the same time, the skilled warriors from Yang family have already gathered in front of the Gate of Heaven and defended the attack from the Demon Dwellers. This time, the Demon Dwellers were very aggressive. The skilled warriors from all family also emerged, and the Yang family have to gather all their forces to defend the Gate of Heaven. In just 2 months' time, at the Gate of Heaven, hundreds of skilled warriors from Yang family have already died, and also thousands of Demon Dwellers. The Gate of Heaven, which was being guarded by the Yang family, became the most intense battlefield in the land. The Xia family and Evil Wonderland were ordered to eliminate Demon Dwellers who came from the Space Node. In this 2 months, the 3 big family in Kiara Sea didn't relax a bit and always engaged with the Demon Dwellers. After receiving message from Evil Wonderland, Qingman was ordered to go to the Black Rock Island near the Fire Clouds Island to clean up hundreds of Demon Dwellers which appeared there. At this time, the Fire Clouds Island was also heavily guarded. He Luo and some of the island's leaders were defending from the Demon Dwellers and were ready to engage with them. Shuryen sat on the Cyan Blood Bat and looked slightly surprised. He hadn't expected that in this 7 months' time, there was already a big change in Kiara Sea. Young Master Yen, a few days ago I received message from Commander Emo. He said that for the time being don't return to the Immortal Island. Commander Emo said that if you had come out from the volcano, then he want you to go to Black Rock Island and help the people from the Evil Wonderland to clean up the Demon Dwellers. Commander Emo said that you still haven't seen and battled with Demon Dwellers, so he want you to familiarize with the Demon Dwellers' appearance and combat skill first, to avoid don't know how to deal with them. When meeting them later, don't return to the Immortal Island for the time being? Why? The Gate of Heaven in Kiara Sea leading to the 4th Demon Area is very close to Immortal Island. If we want to return to the island, then we need to go through that place. Recently, the warriors who gathered at Gate of Heaven are above Nirvana realm, and the demon dwellers which appeared at there also have a very high cultivation. It's too dangerous if we want to pass there. Black Rock Island? He-Ching Man is also at Black Rock Island. Yes, half a month ago, she received a message from Evil Wonderland and headed toward Black Rock Island with her Wind Thunder Lion. Black Rock Island isn't too far from here. With this cyan bloodbat, we can arrive in about 3 to 4 days. Tuol Luo nodded his head and said, "Young Master Yen, you should go to Black Rock Island. The demon dwellers there aren't too strong." Meanwhile, you are helping the Evil Wonderland cleaning the demon dwellers. You can also see the differences between us and the demon dwellers. Well, let's go to Black Rock Island. Although Shiryen wanted to go to the Xia family and help Xia Xinyan restore her consciousness first, but now that the Kiara Sea was in chaos, there was also quite a distance from here to Xia family, and he doesn't know what will happen to him in the halfway, and since Mo Duanhu and AHD already arranged it like that, he felt that for the time being, he should follow Mo Duanhuan plan. The souls in the Soul Gathering Pearl still need to precipitate for some time before they can be absorbed. There was not too much danger with the current state of Xia Xinya. As long as the Xia family weren't reckless, then there won't be any change in Xia Xinyan. He felt that he should wait until the souls in the Soul Gathering Pearl were ready to absorbed. Then he can go to Xia family to see Xia Xinyan. Then let's go to the Black Rock Island. Tuolyuo nodded and flew the cyan blood bat toward the south. 3 days later, Shiryen and Tuolyuo arrived at the Black Rock Island. The Black Rock Island was same as its name. The island's stones were all dark brown. The natural energy in this island was very thin, with severe water shortage, and there weren't many plants in here. At first glance, there were many small black rock mountains everywhere. The land was uneven and there were many pit holes. There are not many people who live on Black Rock Island, and also there are no skilled warriors who train here. This Black Rock Island only produces black spots copper, which is a spare material to make treasure and weapon with cold attribute and can't be called precious. On the Grace mainland, there are many places with black spots copper. Tuolyuo frowned and explained to Shiryen, however, in the 4th magic area, there are no black spots coppers at all. I heard that some of the demon dwellers in the 4th demon area who practice cold skill need to absorb black spots copper into their body so that they can be able to practice the secret skill. Some of the treasure that has been made by the demon dwellers needs to use black spots copper too. In here, the black spots coppers aren't too precious, but for the demon dwellers, it is extremely useful, so the reason why the demon dwellers went to the Black Rock Island is probably for these coppers. Shiryen nodded slowly. Young Master Yen, the reason for the Yang family often go to the 4th demon area was also for the resources in there. Tuolyuo saw Shiryen was listening seriously and decided to explain again. In the 4th demon area, there are as many ores and exotic herbs, which disappeared from Grace mainland or are non-existent in Grace mainland. Those ores and herbs might not be precious in the demon area, but once they reached here, they are extremely rare. The Yang family often goes to the 4th demon area to mine ores and loot rare remedy and bring them into our world. Those ores and remedy became the most valuable resources to refine some special treasures and pills. The nutrition pills from Yang family, the immortal pills, and also other pills. Some of the main components are from the 4th demon area, and also many powerful secret treasures have also used the ores from the 4th demon area. The Yang family dared to vie with the demon dwellers for resources, ores, and herbs that didn't exist in this world. This was the reason why the Yang family is so strong, and many young warriors had secret treasures that is more powerful than others, and had pills that are more valuable than the others, and also their speed during cultivation is also faster than others. While mentioning these, Tuolyuo looked quite proud, because he too was a member of the Yang family. Shiryen nodded slightly. Dare to go into the demon area and fight with demon dwellers for the resources. No wonder the Yang family was so powerful and had many skilled warriors. The cultivation of a warrior, besides talent and effort, the variety of resources also can't be lacking. A warrior who had many valuable resources, the speed of his cultivation was several times faster than the ones who had talent and effort. Shiryen was already well aware of this point. Tuoluo was different from Emo Duanhuan. He loved to speak, and when Shiryan asked, he would explain all the things that he knew about Yang family without hesitation. Through him, Shiryan got a deeper understanding of Yang family and gradually knew why the Yang family was so strong. On the Black Rock Island, there were many silhouettes standing at the peak of the Black Rock Mountain and seems like discussing something. In the crowd, He-Chi Man, with a red leather armor and enchanting posture, looked like a blooming in the green leaves. He-Chi Man slightly frowned, leaning against the Wind Thunder Lion, and admonished some Disaster Realm warriors from Evil Wonderland. Her mood doesn't seem to be good. The Cyan Blood Bat slowly went down. He-Chi Man looked up, her peach eyes swept for a moment, and immediately saw Shiryan. She was slightly surprised, waving her white hands to clear off the Evil Wonderland warriors that surrounded her, slightly hummed, glanced up and said, "You are still not dead." Shiryan sniffed, looked at her and said, "I still haven't seen the wager that you promised, so how can I die?" He-Chi-Man's face blushed and immediately remembered the bet between her and Shiryan and coldly sneered, "Why did you come here?" "To help you clean up the demon dwellers." Shiryan walked down from the Cyan Blood Bat and walked toward He-Chi Man. At the same time, Shiryan looked around and evaluated these Evil Wonderland warriors. At the mountain peak, there was a beautiful woman in Nirvana Realm, including He-Chi Man 4 Earth Realm young warriors, and also 23 Disaster Realm warriors. Beside that beautiful woman, the age of the rest weren't too big, seems like around 20 to 30 years old. These must be the young skilled fighters that have been trained by Evil Wonderland. When Shiryan was evaluating them, there were some people who secretly looked at him. There were several people who exposed their will to fight. Those people were the warriors that were admonished by He-Chi Man. They seemed to find out that Shiryan was disliked by He-Chi Man, so they wanted to please He-Chi Man through defeating Shiryan. Translated by Y. Chapter 191. Black Scale Tribe. Chapter 191. Black Scale Tribe. I will go first. If I don't come pick you up after some time, then there will be someone else who will come here. Tuoluo sat on the Cyan Blood Bat and spoke loudly. Shiryan nodded his head. Tuoluo smiled at him and suddenly drove the Cyan Blood Bat and flew to the sky and soon disappeared. On the way to the Black Rock Island, Tuoluo said that after he escorted him, he will take the dragon-slaying sword and leave for a few days. Shiryan stayed in the 10,000-year-old volcano for 7 months, and during this time, the Yang family already asked for an explanation from the Gu family. After the Gu family knew what Gu Jiange and Gu Lai have done, they were also very furious, but they denied that this matter was related to the Gu family, and only said that everything was Gu Jiange and his son's fault. Shiryan didn't know what the price that the Gu family had to pay, but from Tuoluo's explanation, he knew that the Yang family demanded a lot of benefits. Not only they agreed to punish Gu Jiange, but also promised to return the dragon-slaying sword. Tuoluo carried the dragon-slaying sword and went to the nearest Yang family mini teleportation array to send out the dragon-slaying sword, so that the Yang family can use this dragon-slaying sword to exchange more benefits from the Gu family. Although Shiryan didn't know what was the price that the Gu family had to pay, but he knew that this time the Yang family had the right to discuss, then the Gu family certainly suffered a major loss. Before Tuoluo left, he admonished Shiryan to be careful, and also said that if he didn't come, there will be another one that will come to Black Rock Island to find him, so he doesn't need to worry. Shiryan calmly stayed down. At the peak, Shiryan looked coldly and soon figured out the island's situation. That beautiful woman from the Evil Wonderland was named Lin Nan, with the cultivation of the second sky of Nirvana Realm, and was ordered to clean up the demon dwellers on this island. After Lin Nan, besides He-Chi Man, there was also 3 Earth Realm warriors, 2 men and a woman, who are Peng Pei, Shuribai, and Shinidon. Among the 3, Peng Pei and Shuridan were in the first sky of Earth Realm, and Shuribai was slightly higher, in the second sky of Earth Realm. He-Chi Man, Shuribai, Peng Pei, and Shin-Yi, these 4 were quite young. The men were handsome, and the women beautiful. Although Shin Yibin didn't look as dainty as He-Chi Man, but she was also very beautiful, with her slender waist, voluptuous ass, a pair of watery eyes, and faint laughing expression. It made people wanting to rape her. These four were the skilled young generation warriors from the evil wonderland, and He-Ching-Man was the most outstanding amongst them, being the youngest and the most talented. The other 23 Disaster Realm warriors were also very young. This time they followed Lin Nan to Black Rock Island, was to train themselves, hoping through this experience to break through the bottleneck and step into a higher realm. The Disaster Realm, after experiencing a catastrophe, one can use his experience from the Disaster Realm to break through. These 23 Disaster Realm warriors were being led by He-Ching-Man, Shiryu-Bai, Peng Pei, and Shin Edon, and were divided into 4 teams to trace the Devil Dwellers, and Lin Nan was responsible for managing these 4 Earth Realm warriors, and to report the situation to Evil Wonderland at any time to prevent these future seeds being killed by the Demon Dwellers. Lin Nan's position in the Evil Wonderland wasn't low. Her big brother, Lin Hong, was an elder at the Evil Wonderland with the cultivation of the second sky of Sky Realm. Her second brother, Lin Su, was at the third sky of Nirvana Realm and organized and took care of the mining and herbs business in the 7 islands under the Evil Wonderland. Many people from the Lin family occupied important positions in the Evil Wonderland. Lin Nan herself was responsible for the training the skilled young warriors and dealing with the argument between those warriors. After Shiryu came down from the Cyan Bloodbath, Lin Nan had some doubts in her hearts as she didn't know Shiryu's true identity. The warriors of Kiara Sea all knew that only a Shura Blood Guard can be equipped with a Cyan Bloodbath. When Shiryu came with the Cyan Bloodbath, at first Lin Nan thought that Shiryu was also one of the Shura Blood Guards. But after she saw the attitude of Tua Luo toward Shiryu, she knew that Shiryu wasn't a Shura Blood Guard. And after some conversation between Shiryu and He-Ching-Man, it made her secretly curious, and she guessed that Shiryu must be a skilled young warrior from the Yang family. However, when Shiryu introduced himself and said his name, Lin Nan became puzzled again. She was completely unfamiliar with Shiryu's name. According to her understanding towards skilled young warriors from Yang family, she can certainly ensure that there was no Shiryu in the Yang family. Shin Edon, Peng Pei, Shiryu-Bai, those 3 also had some doubts after hearing Shiryu's self-introduction, and when they looked at Shiryu again, there was a slight disdain. They knew that those skilled young warriors from the Yang family, and when they saw Shiryu wasn't one from the people they knew, plus Shiryu's surname was Shur, they were sure that Shiryu wasn't a direct descendant from the Yang family. And Shiryu only had the cultivation of the second sky of Disaster Realm. Even though Tua Luo's attitude toward Shiryu was a bit strange, they still didn't mind it. How many demon dwellers are on the island? After the introduction from both sides, Shiryu asked. As far as I know, there are about 50 or 60 demon dwellers. Of course, there may be more, Lin Nan explained. These demon dwellers are from the Black Scale tribe. Black Scale tribe? Shiryu surprised. Lin Nan slightly frowned and surprised. You didn't know about the Black Scale tribe? Yes, Shiryu nodded. No way. Dan Edon lightly screamed. In his eyes, there was a trace of disdain, as he softly laughed. The Yang family and the demon dwellers have been fighting for so many years, and often went in and out from the 4th demon area, as long as one is from the Yang family. Their knowledge toward the demon dwellers should be deeper than us. You even didn't know about the Black Scale tribe? Then why did you come here? Peng Pei grunted and directly said, Your cultivation is too low, but we're escorted by the Shura Blood Guard. At first, I thought it was because you understood the Black Scale tribe, so the Yang family let you came here to help us, but to think that you haven't even heard about the Black Scale tribe, I really don't know what is the purpose of the Shura Blood Guard to send you here. Shiryu-Bai frowned and shook his head, looking at Lin Nan, and smiled wryly. Sister Nan, it appears that this isn't an aid, but a trouble. I'm still can't be counted as one of the Yang family. I came to the Black Rock Island just to see the demon dwellers only, Shiryu said coldly as there was some unhappiness in his heart. You aren't one of the Yang family? The disdain in Shin Edon's eyes became heavier as he laughed. This really scared me up. I thought you were one of the savages from the Yang family, hee hee, but it is best. Or we will be very awkward, huh? Now I am much more relaxed. Yes, those savages from the Yang family, each of them is very bossy. It is really difficult to work with them. Peng Pei also agreed by nodding his head and looked at Shi Yan. Brat, since you aren't one of them, then be honest. Don't act on your own. Or if you were killed by the demon dwellers, don't blame us for not reminding you. Don't speak nonsense. Lin Nan stared at Peng Pei and Shi Yubai. Although there was some dissatisfaction in her heart, but she didn't show it, but smiled and said to Shi Yan, Black Scale Tribe is one of tribe from the demon dwellers, which has a black scale. Those scales are born naturally and are very hard. Some normal weapons can't even harm them. In addition, we only know a little about the Black Scale Tribe. Recently, we have been searching for those demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe in Black Rock Island, and even saw them, but they always avoided us and didn't fight with us. So we didn't know the characteristics from the Black Scale Tribe. Still hadn't fought. Shi Yan was stunned for a moment and nodded his head. All right, I got it. I will be careful. Among those people, only He Qingman knew Shi Yan's identity, but she didn't remind the others. Seems like she can't wait for them to chatter Shi Yan. And when Peng Pei and Shi Yubai cynicism Shi Yan, He Qingman slightly nodded her head, appearing in a good mood. Shi Yan knew that He Qingman wants to see him being humiliated. He slightly sighed in his heart, but he didn't show it, and only said to Lin Nan, I really don't know anything about the demon dwellers. This time I came to here just to see the demon dwellers. As for the arrangement, you will do it and I will try to follow you. Not too bad. Lin Nan secretly nodded and expressed satisfaction toward Shi Yan's humility, and in her heart, she was more certain that Shi Yan wasn't one of the Yang family member. The disdain in Shen Yidan's eyes became even more obvious. If he really from the Yang family, how could he be so humble? Those guys from Yang family, which one of them is not hard-edged? Not bossy? Didn't look down on the others? Today we will rest here. Tomorrow morning, we will go to the nearby mines to see. It's said that the dark copper is very precious in the demon area, and seems like those demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe, who practiced some secret martial arts, really depend on dark copper. Maybe those demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe are hiding in the mines, Lin Nan said. Everyone nodded his head to show that they understood. Shi Yan, have a good rest. Tomorrow morning you come with us. Lin Nan looked at Shi Yan. Shi Yan nodded. Come with me. I have something to ask you. He Qingman rode on the Wind Thunder Lion while looking coldly at Shi Yan and said. Lin Nan, Peng Pei, Shen Yidan were suddenly stunned for a moment and looked strangely toward He Qingman. Shi Yubai frowned. In his eyes flashed a trace of coldness, while he looked at Shi Yan and then at He Qingman. His face didn't look good. Shi Yan looked indifferent. As he saw expression everyone's faces, he rode on the Wind Thunder Lion leisurely and sat beside He Qingman without saying a word. He Qingman didn't show any surprise to Shi Yan, who sat beside her. She straightened her legs and kicked the Wind Thunder Lion. Under the cold look from Shi Yubai, the Wind Thunder Lion flew into the sky and left the mountain and flew towards Stone Forest not far from there. Big brother Shi, seems like He Qingman is a bit interested in this guy. Peng Pei looked at the disappeared Wind Thunder Lion and immediately said to Shi Yubai, but it shouldn't be a good intention, and looks like He Qingman has some resentment towards that brat. She wanted to meet him alone. Maybe it's not a good intention. Shi Yubai gently nodded his head, said, looks like that kid has an unlucky life. He Qingman's sight is very high, so it can't be that she liked him. She wanted to meet him alone. Certainly it was for teaching him a lesson. Maybe not. Shi Yidan hesitated a moment and said, after that kid came here, He Qingman's expression was a bit weird. Seems like there was a blush in her face. Don't know what happened between them though. Shi Yubai's eyes suddenly became cold. Translated by Wai. Chapter 192, The Shadow at Dark Night. Chapter 192, The Shadow at Dark Night. A dark forest formed from odd-shaped black rocks. As it turned dark, the Black Rock Island turned quiet, without any sound from a living creature, which made it quite depressing. In the stone wood, the Wind Thunder Lion was lying on the ground lazily. gazing at He Qingman and Shi Yan standing in front of a dark stone and watching the surroundings carefully. "You'd better leave the Black Rock Island right away." He Qingman appeared very serious. "You don't know the situation here, or the population of demon dwellers or their ability. You're merely at the second sky of Disaster Realm, and we won't have time to take care of you. Once we are in a battle with the demon dwellers, no one would be there to protect you." As soon as He Qingman got off the Wind Thunder Lion, she tried to persuade Shi Yan to leave. "It's fine. I don't need anyone's protection. You don't have to protect me even if I face any demon dwellers." Shi Yan shook his head indifferently. "I won't leave the Black Rock Island for now. Once the Dark Scale tribe members are cleaned, I will leave by myself." "You." He Qingman glared at Shi Yan. "If it was not Lord Emo who helped my father and me a lot on martial arts on the Fire Cloud Island, I wouldn't even look at you. Do you think you, a Disaster Realm warrior, can survive under the hands of the Black Scale tribe without our protection?" Shi Yan frowned and said indifferently, "It's none of your business." Clenching her teeth, He Qingman then took a deep breath as she stared at Shi Yan in anger. "My senior fellow apprentice is coming." "Your senior fellow apprentice?" Shi Yan was playing with the black stones in his hand. "What's it got to do with me?" "He admires Sister Xinyan for a long time and got really angry after he heard what you have done to her. If he found out that you are here, you will be a dead person." He Qingman was rather straightforward. "How did he know about Xinyan and me?" Shi Yan grounded the stone in his hand, raised his head and stared at He Qingman. "You told him." He Qingman blinked her eyes and replied, "So what?" "You are so cold-hearted to Sister Xinyan, afraid now." "Nuts." Shi Yan cursed. "You are nuts." He Qingman's expressions changed, and she yelled angrily, "Now Lord Emo is not here. No one could protect you. Do you want me to teach you a lesson? You can have a try." Shi Yan narrowed his eyes and his face turned cold. "You're not afraid of death, right?" He Qingman was surprised by Shi Yan's reaction. "Do you know how vicious Xia Kue, my senior fellow apprentice, is? If he wants to teach you a lesson, he can make you die in the hands of the demon dwellers." "I know him very well. He would do that." Xia Kue was the top expert among the young generations on the evil Wonderland, with twin martial spirits of wood and earth, and was at the third sky of Earth Realm, a notorious figure in the Kiara Sea. Shi Yan had heard of him from Toaluo, knowing that he was very fond of Xia Xinyan for a long time, and found various excuses just to meet her in the Xia family several times. This guy was at a high position in the evil Wonderland, thus many girls admired him a lot. But he had always been trying to win Xia Xinyan's affection. Since he knew this guy, Shi Yan disliked him. Scared? Seeing Shi Yan turned silent when he heard the news, He Qingman raised her head a little. "It's not too late to be scared. For Minister Mo's sake, I can ask the Wind Thunder Lion to take you away from the Black Rock Island. You can leave right away to settle on a nearby island, and the Yang family would pick you up from there." "Who said I want to go?" Shi Yan said indifferently. He Qingman's prideful face disappeared as she asked, "You are going to stay and let him attack you? You don't know how formidable he is, do you?" "No matter how capable he is, I won't leave." Shi Yan replied firmly. He Qingman stared at him for a long time, then she nodded. "I have no idea what to do, if you insist on seeking death." "Good luck." "Okay, thank you for your information," Shi Yan said calmly. "You are welcome." He Qingman looked rigid as she looked up at the stars in the sky. Then she took out a fan and sat down against a black stone behind her. "Let's take a rest here tonight and meet them on the mountain top next morning." Shi Yan nodded and sat down on the ground silently, regardless of the dust. He knew He Qingman was cared for him, but she was too proud, which made Shi Yan unhappy. But he didn't do anything to her. Closing his eyes, Shi Yan drowned his spirit into the blood vein ring. Inside the blood vein ring, the ice-cold flame and the earth core fire coexisted while being sealed in two separate regions. "My energy and chi is totally sealed, so you must be careful. I will not be able to help you." From the blood vein ring came the ice-cold flame's message. "The ring spirit knows it is the key stage for the advancement of the earth core fire, so it sealed me to prevent any harmful influence of my ice cold." "How long does it take for the earth core fire to advance?" "I don't know, 1 or 2 years or 10 years. Remember, you have to keep using your spirit to communicate with it while the Earth core fire is advancing. Then it will remember you and treat you as family. Okay, got it. Shiryen paused and asked, you know anything about the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe? The Black Scale tribe, the ice-cold flame seemed to be pondering. After a while, it seemed to remember something about the Black Scale tribe and answered. The Black Scale tribe was one of the 7 tribes in the demon area and were born with hard black scales. The Black Scale tribe lived in dark places and hide their bodies in dark. At night, they could easily turn invisible. You met demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe. Not yet, but soon. Remember, don't fight with the Black Scale tribe at night. Plus, the Black Scale tribe scales are not only hard, but could also shoot out sword-like scales at a crucial moment. So when you are fighting against them, pay attention to their black scales. Once the scales started to shake, you should retreat as soon as possible, because that is the sign that the black scales are about to shoot. Okay, got it. Pay attention to the soul-gathering pearl. Though it can absorb souls now, it can still purse up souls. Leave a wisp of spirit power on the soul-gathering pearl, so once the demon dwellers of the Black Scale tribe approach, you can feel them with the help of the soul-gathering pearl. At night, formidable dwellers of the Black Scale tribe would hide their bodies and souls. You can hardly sense them by yourself. I know. Shiryen was surprised secretly. The dwellers of the Black Scale tribe could turn invisible at night. After communicating with the ice-cold flame, Shiryen didn't dare to look down upon those demon dwellers. Opening his eyes and taking out the soul-gathering pearl, Shiryen let out a wisp of spirit power and merged it into the soul-gathering pearl. The spirit power going into the soul-gathering pearl and felt warm and comfortable. The power of soul was flowing inside the soul-gathering pearl as if magical fluids. Although it couldn't absorb the soul power directly, his spirit power enjoyed itself a lot in it as if swimming in a spring. After his spirit power went into the soul-gathering pearl, Shiryen's senses turned acute at once, as if exaggerated by the soul-gathering pearl by several times. Now Shiryen could sense his surroundings clearly. Clouds of vicious air went into his head. Shiryen's expression changed at once. Through the soul-gathering pearl, he could clearly feel that 300 meters away from Ichingman and him, there gathered several clouds of living air. He counted roughly and found there were no less than 30 clouds. The Black Scale tribe. Shocked, Shiryen hurried to sense how powerful were they. There were 4 clouds of air that were extremely intense, which must be from experts at Earth Realm. And the rest were at Disaster Realm. Ichingman. Shiryen yelled. What are you shouting for at this time of night? Ichingman's eyelash shook, but she didn't open her eyes. I guess we are encircled. Chapter 193, Thriller. Chapter 193, Thriller. In the Blackstone Wood. Ichingman abruptly opened her eyes. After looking around carefully, she asked, What did you say? I think we are surrounded by the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe. Shiryen stood up with a rigid face, at least 30 of them, just 300 meters away from us. 4 of them are at Earth Realm. Are you kidding? Ichingman frowned and couldn't believe it. At the same time, she released her spirit power and extended it to 300 meters away. Where her spirit power swept, there was no sign of life or life force at all. Ichingman was a little depressed as she grunted and stared at Shiryen. There's nothing at all. You're playing a joke on me, aren't you? Shiryen was surprised and then began to sense the surroundings with the soul-gathering pearl again. After an acute observation, he found that the 30 demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe didn't disappear, but were approaching them gradually. Narrowing his eyes, Shiryen soon realized that Ichingman's spirit power couldn't sense the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe. At night, the Black Scale tribe would hide themselves and weaken their soul intensity. Although Ichingman was at Earth Realm, she had no soul-gathering pearl, so she couldn't sense the demon dwellers. They're slowly coming near us. Shiryen said seriously, even though you can't sense them, doesn't mean they don't exist. Whatever. Ichingman was impatient as she closed her eyes and stayed still. She was at Earth Realm, so she believed that her spirit power was more acute than Shiryen's. How could Shiryen sense the demon dwellers if she couldn't? He Chi-man didn't take it seriously as she thought Shiryen was joking. Shiryen looked serious as he took a deep breath and walked to the Wind Thunder Lion slowly. He Chi-man closed her eyes and she could still feel Shiryen's movement. But she didn't care at all as she complained secretly about the Yang family sending Shiryen here. Boom! Suddenly, Shiryen struck his fist on the Wind Thunder Lion, making the lion irritated, and it stood up at once. Oh! The Wind Thunder Lion bellowed, with wrath billowing in his eyes. Are you crazy? He Chi-man yelled and dashed up. Her angry eyes stared at Shiryen. What's your problem? Why irritate the Wind Thunder Lion? Tired of living in this world? Go! Shiryen suddenly wrapped He Chi-man in his arms and jumped to the Wind Thunder Lion. Release! He Chi-man flew into a rage as a stream of intense energy bursted out from her body. Under the energy, Shiryen felt as if he was carrying a booming balloon. Before he could operate his petrification martial spirit, he was pushed back a few steps by He Chi-man, which made the lion bellow a lot. Although He Chi-man got rid of him, she was still rather angry. Shiryen, do you think that I wouldn't dare hurt you? Go! Quick! Shiryen shouted, raised his right hand, and pushed out 7 handprints. Bang bang! The seal of life struck the dark region on their left in waves. The dark region was twisted and blasted. Suddenly, several dark shadows of human figures showed up in the darkness. The Black Scale Tribe. Those people were covered with black scales, about 3 meters tall, strong, and were releasing malicious smell. There were 6 of them, with ferocious look in their dark green eyes. Their camouflage was disrupted by the seal from the darkness, causing them to dash toward Shiryen quickly. Ah! He Chi-man yelled in surprise, and then gazed at the 6 flying demon dwellers coming near. Excitedly, she said, there are demon dwellers. Huh, too good. Now we don't need to look for them. Go! Shiryen demanded, there are not only these 6. There are more that are approaching. We can't get away if we don't leave now. He Chi-man was astonished. Thunder, let's go. She paused for a second, and then kicked the Wind Thunder Lion who had become anxious. The Wind Thunder Lion flew up into the sky at once. Sitting on the Wind Thunder Lion, He Chi-man looked down to watch the black stone wood and found some disruption in the dark area. She didn't know how many demon dwellers from the Black Scale Tribe were hiding there in the darkness. He Chi-man gazed down for a while and still felt nervous at what happened just now. If Shiryen hadn't found the demon dwellers and driven the lion to carry them away, they might have been caught by the Black Scale Tribe. Although the Wind Thunder Lion was a level 6 demon beast, if it was surrounded by the experts from the Black Scale Tribe, it couldn't defend against them at all. Those demon dwellers dared to approach because they knew they could manage the lion. He Chi-man got frightened as she thought of this. After a long while, she looked to Shiryen who was beside her. How do you know they were approaching? Shiryen looked unconcerned as he responded, He Chi-man, I have my own way. Can you still sense them next time? He Chi-man's eyes blinked. I can still sense them if they approach within 500 meters from me. Shiryen nodded, they are adept at hiding themselves. Once they hide their life waves, normal people can hardly find them. I found them because I have a treasure to help me. Well, it must be quite a treasure. He Chi-man had presumed, your sense won't be more acute without any treasure. Shiryen didn't deny and nodded, of course. From now on, you should be with me if there are battles with the demon dwellers. You don't need to fight, but use the treasure to locate them. He Chi-man thought for a while and suggested. After that, they got along better with each other. Okay, Shiryen said casually. Now please find where are they heading now? He Chi-man protruded her head to watch the black stone wood below and made the Wind Thunder Lion descend a little. Shiryen put his spirit power into the soul-gathering pearl again and closed his eyes to feel. Soon, he opened his eyes and pointed to a black mountain peak. All the demon dwellers are moving towards there. Yeah, there. He Chi-man nodded. That mountain produces black copper. It's our goal tomorrow. Let's go there tomorrow. It's too late today. Don't take the risk. Shiryen suggested. He Chi-man thought for a while. Don't mention what happened today to Lin Nan. Why? We came this time to clean the demon dwellers. Sheng Yidong, Peng Pei, Shi Yubai and I will lead a group respectively. This cleaning action is also a test of our ability. The one who has outstanding performance this time will be put in a high position. I'm competing with Shangdani. I must win against her, He Qingman explained. Shiyan was surprised, then nodded, okay. As the Wind Thunder Lion landed on the peak, Shiyan found those people were taking a rest with their eyes closed. Shiryubai was standing behind a black stone. He glanced at Shiyan coldly, frowned, then closed his eyes again. Qi-man, did you find anything? Lin Nan smiled and asked casually. Nothing. He Qi-man replied with a smile, but we must be careful tomorrow. We may come across the demon dwellers in the cave. Yeah, they're very likely staying in the quarry. Qi-man, take a good rest and we will set out tomorrow. Got it, Sister Nan. Next morning, Lin Nan began to urge the group in early morning. She asked He Qingman, Shangdani, Peng Pei, and Shiryubai to get prepared. He Qingman and the other three were young experts in the evil wonderland. So each of them had 7 to 8 disaster realm warriors under them. Shiyan, there are many crossroads in the cave, so we may separate when we get into the cave. Any group who finds anything will send messages, and the other 3 groups will join the first group. So which group do you want to join? Lin Nan asked. Brother, go with me. My team is stronger. You will be safe. Shiryubai invited first. Shiyan shook his head with a smile. How about going with me? I will take care of you. Xing Yidan pretended to be friendly, although she secretly hoped that Shiyan would refuse the suggestion. We are old friends. Last night we decided that we will go together. He Qingman said lightly. Shiyan beamed. As you like. Lin Nan nodded and smiled at He Qingman. Shiyan is from the Yang family, so you should pay attention and don't let him get hurt. It will be tough if he get hurt and the Yang family decided to ask for compensation. Got it, Sister Nan. Well, let's go. Chapter 194, Now You Are Convinced. Chapter 194, Now You Are Convinced. A huge black hole was waiting for them to come like a demon's mouth. Cold wind came from the cave that made everybody uncomfortable. They could vaguely hear some howls from the cave as if it was the provocation from the demon dwellers. Shiyan, Lin Nan, and He Qingman stood behind the cave and were observing the entrance of the cave carefully. Shiyan secretly held the soul-gathering pearl, releasing his spirit power and then extending it. The cave was empty inside, with crossroads leading to all directions. As his spirit power extended, he could feel the smell of the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe, but not their exact position. The cave was so deep and many roads led to the bottom of the mountain. Even with the help of the soul-gathering pearl, Shiyan could only detect that there were no demon dwellers in the region 500 meters around him. But he was quite sure that there are Black Scale tribe demon dwellers inside the cave. Well, let's get in. Be careful, everybody. Lin Nan stood for a while in front of the entrance and then said, Take the sound stone when you get into the cave. Keep in touch. Lin Nan said to He Qingman and Sheng Yidan. The 4 of them were holding a silver stone in their hands. The stones had small holes on them and could convey sounds within a certain distance. Got it. He Qingman and others nodded in confidence. We're in. It was dark inside the cave, so they have to use light stones to see things. Crossing roads were everywhere in the cave. One could get easily lost in here. You 4 remember the road and your own positions. Lin Nan instructed. The first crossroads showed up. We should separate now. Shiryubai frowned, Sister Nan. We will go with this road. I will send messages through the soundstone if something happens. All right. Follow up. Shiryubai demanded and walked to the crossroad with her people. Lin Nan took the rest warriors and went on. Before long, another crossroads showed up. Sister Nan, our turn. He Qingman smiled and said to Lin Nan, I will send you a message once I find something. Okay, off you go. Lin Nan nodded with a smile. Yidan is too cheeky, so I will go with her first. I will come to you once I get your message. He Qingman nodded, glanced at the followers and yelled, Follow me. Then, He Qingman stepped on the road. 7 disaster realm warriors followed her with rigid faces. Shiyan looked unconcerned and got into the cave as everybody had went into it. Sister Nan, if this guy dies here, will the Yang family be hard on us? Peng Pei asked when they lost sight of Shiryan. Sheng Yidan seemed to care about it a lot as she asked, Sister Nan, this guy is not from the Yang family, but that sure a guard was accompanying him. Who on earth is he? He is merely at the disaster realm. If they met demon dwellers and Qi Man didn't protect him, he will die for sure. None of your business. Lin Nan frowned. Qi Man is a reasonable person. But I guess Qi Man dislikes that guy. She may want to kill him by asking him to follow her. Peng Pei rubbed his head. Lin Nan was baffled as she paused and asked, no, Qi Man won't do that. Furthermore, the Yang family dared send him to the Black Stone Island, then he must be something. You know Yang family members always do special things. If he is from the Yang family, then I can't look down upon him. Sheng Yidan shook her head, but the problem is, his surname is Sure, not Yang. All right, leave him alone. It's not a big deal even if he dies here. Lin Nan was unconcerned, like you said, he is not from the Yang family. Right. Peng Pei nodded. Shiryan, come to the head of the queue. Qi Man requested from the front of the group. The road was so narrow that only 3 people could go through at the same time. Qi Man was at the head of the group. 7 Disaster Realm warriors stood behind her in a row. Shiryan was the last one. Since Qi Man asked, Shiryan couldn't stay behind anymore. Excuse me. Shiryan frowned and pushed his way forward. 7 evil Wonderland warriors blocked the way before him, and they were not willing to make room from Shiryan to get through. Qi Man was keep her eyes forward, so she didn't know what was happening behind her. The 7 warriors looked back at Shiryan with weird smiles. The 2 warriors in front of him stood shoulder by shoulder, leaving little space between them. Obviously, the 2 didn't want Shiryan to go through. Shiryan stood still in front of the 2 persons and said calmly, excuse me. The road's too narrow and we've already made room for you. You have to push if you still want to proceed. One of them giggled. Well, I will push then. Shiryan beamed. Boom. The dull sound of someone crashing came from the road. Kaka. Sounds of bones breaking came too. Shiryan pushed his way forward between the 2 men's shoulders, who were sweating heavily now. One of them crossed his arms around his chest, breathed heavily, and then stared at Shiryan angrily. Not convinced. Shiryan grinned, stretched out his hand, and then touched that guy's broken shoulder. The guy screamed miserably, which frightened Qi Man a lot. Who is screaming? Qi Man looked back on alert. At the backside, Shiryan's hand was pressing on the guy's shoulder as he said coldly, now are you convinced? Bastard, how dare you? The other warrior shouted and was about to hit Shiryan. Shiryan giggled, took out the other hand, and then shot it to the warrior's face like a sharp sword. Pooh! Shiryan's hand stabbed into the stone wall right beside the guy's face. Shiryan's 5 fingers deeply embedded into the stone wall like spears, and after he retracted his hand, 5 deep finger holes were left behind in the wall. That man assumed Shiryan hadn't thrusted his hand into the wall, so he sneered and was about to pound his fist toward Shiryan's face. Barty, stop! Qi Man yelled. Barty's fist toward Shiryan stopped halfway, and he looked to Qi Man unhappily. Miss He, why not teach him a lesson? Barty, you. Look at the wall beside you. One of Barty's friends smiled bitterly. Barty was stunned. As he turned around and saw 5 deep finger holes in the wall, he soon became quiet. It was just a joke. Being cornered by Shiryan, that guy started sweating and apologized. Sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was joking too. Shiryan nodded and withdrew his hand, and then mumbled, why ask for trouble? As he was talking, Shiryan kept moving towards Qi Man. The rest of the warriors soon walked apart and leaned against the wall to make room for Shiryan. Should have done this earlier. Shiryan sneered as he walked to Qi Man's side. Qi Man frowned after she saw what Shiryan had done, and then said lightly, those guys are rude, but you did too much. Zhou Nan's shoulder is broken, which will influence our ability in battles. You have to pay for it if we lose our lives. I have to pay? Shiryan sneered. Well, let me see how will you let me pay. You. Qi Man said that so her people wouldn't be mad at her. She didn't mean to irritate Shiryan. But Shiryan didn't understand and humiliated her in front of people, so she got angry and wanted to give Shiryan a lesson. However, when she thought of Shi Yan's treasure, He Qingman grunted, "Be quiet, okay?" "Fine." Shi Yan's eyes blinked. "Demon dwellers are coming near. I will be quiet now. You guys get ready." "They are already here?" He Qingman said with a rigid face. "How many are they?" "What realm?" Barty, Cho Nan, and He Qingman were all confused by him. "There are only 6 demon dwellers, and one of them is at Earth Realm. You can manage him. The other 5, I believe you guys can beat them easily. Good luck." Shi Yan looked unconcerned as he stood against the wall lazily. Chapter 195, Harsh Enemy. Chapter 195, Harsh Enemy. 6 demon dwellers. He Qingman nodded slowly. Instead of being frightened, she was a little excited. "Get ready. Seems like we are going to fight first." 7 warriors responded and became alert. Shi Yan nodded. The Evil Wonderland was one of the 3 powers in the Kiara Sea area, so even though those young warriors had never battled with the demon dwellers from the Black Scale tribe, they were not afraid at all. Instead, they were quite excited. "Be careful. Those demon dwellers can hide their smell in this cave. You can't even recognize them when they are in front of you." Leaning on the wall, Shi Yan reminded them leisurely. Barty and the group looked at him in confusion after he said that. "You'd better remember what he said." He Qingman saw distrust from her followers. "He said those demon dwellers can hide smell, then they do. Focus now." "He didn't even know who the Black Scale tribe was until yesterday," Barty mumbled. "Yesterday is yesterday." He Qingman grunted in confusion. She didn't know how Shi Yan became so familiar with the Black Scale tribe, but Shi Yan's performance last night made her trust him. "Pay attention, in case of sneak attack from the demon dwellers. Don't worry, I'm here. They can't hide themselves from me." Shi Yan smiled and said slowly, "They are 150 meters from us and they are approaching. There seems to be a broader cave 50 meters in front of us. I think it would be better if we fight there, or we can't fight freely in this narrow cave." He Qingman paused and hesitated, then she nodded. "Let's go to that broader cave. Better as a battlefield." He Qingman took the lead and shot forward. Shi Yan smiled and followed up. Before long, he and He Qingman reached that spacious cave. This cave was as big as a basketball course. There were traces of it being dug, for there were grooves on the wall with torches in them. There were 3 roads in the cave leading to 3 directions. Shi Yan, He Qingman, and the group were standing on the side, observing the other end of the road attentively. "This one." He Qingman glanced at Shi Yan and lowered her voice. "How long will it take?" He Qingman and Shi Yan were standing shoulder by shoulder near the stone wall. In the case that her voice could be heard by the demon dwellers, she lowered her voice and leaned her head towards Shi Yan. A wisp of aroma went into Shi Yan's nose, so he stretched out his left hand and drew a number in the air. He Qingman nodded, and then she sent messages to her followers to tell them how soon the demon dwellers would arrive. Holding the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan was analyzing and feeling the smell of the demon dwellers of the Black Scale tribe. The demon dwellers of the Black Scale tribe got all advantages in the dark cave, as they could almost hide their whole bodies. Generally, only those Nirvana warriors who had formed the Sea of Consciousness could detect their smell. He Qingman and the group hadn't reached Nirvana realm, so they wouldn't feel a bit of the demon dwellers even if they had approached near them. Holding the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan's spirit power became much more sensitive as he felt the demon dwellers' consciousness. The soul consciousness. The Sea of Consciousness. Inside the dark cave, Shi Yan's eyes shone as he made up his mind that once the soul-gathering pearl could be used, he would form the Sea of Consciousness by himself. As he operated his spirit power several times, he gradually realized that he could take much advantage from it. There, He Qingman was talking near his ear again, giving out a nice aroma, making Shi Yan quite excited. Shi Yan turned to glance at her. Inside the gloomy cave, He Qingman's eyes were shining brightly as her profound qi was burning in her body. With the help of the soul-gathering pearl, Shi Yan heard the sound of wind from inside He Qingman's body. Just then, the demon dwellers who were about 30 meters away from the entrance of the cave suddenly stopped. The demon dweller at the head of the troop had the heaviest vicious smell, and his spirit waves rippled out, flying in this direction. That demon dweller noticed them. Action! Shi Yan said firmly near He Qingman's ear. They had found you. Take action right now while they are still in the tunnel. Kill! He Qingman announced as her neck turned red in the darkness. Shoo! 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 Chi! 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 One after another, weapons with iridescent light shot into the stone cave where those demon dwellers were. Suddenly, miserable screams came from the cave. Sharp weapons flew out from He Qingman's palm like lightning. Despicable human beings! From the tunnel came the frightening screams of the demon dwellers. Dang, dang, dang! Dang, dang, dang! Sounds of metal clashing came from the tunnel. Inside the narrow tunnel, dazzling light sparkled. The 3-meter-tall demon dweller at the head of the troop reached the top of the cave. His black scales shined with magical black light. On his scales, several flecks were floating in a strange way. All sorts of sharp weapons struck onto his scales, but couldn't damage it at all, merely slowing down the floating flecks by a small margin. Even the weapons from He Qingman could only just shake his huge body a little. The demon dweller screamed and dashed in their direction. He Qingman and her people were standing at the entrance of the cave. In the bright light, they all saw and were frightened by what the demon dwellers did. Although they knew the scales on the demon dwellers were special, they never expected them be so frightening. The scales were not broken by such harsh attacks. How should they battle with them once the demon dwellers got near? Light on! Seeing the situation, He Qingman announced loudly. Barty and other people soon took out their lightstone and put them across the ceiling of the stone cave. The dark cave was soon lit up as daytime. The dwellers of the Black Scale tribe could hide their bodies in darkness, but appeared rapidly in bright light. He Qingman knew that she couldn't prevent from fighting in the cave, so she decided to light up the cave first. Think I can't break your scales? Seeing the cave becoming bright and the demon dweller that was about to dash out, He Qingman yelled loudly. A long silver spear appeared in her left hand, and the cave was filled with a silver light. A strange silver snake flew out from the silver spear, and then suddenly, a vicious smell spurted into the cave. The silver snake was 5 meters long. It emerged from the spear and engulfed it. After then it shot toward the demon dweller. The demon dweller, who had received all the attacks, showed a slight fear in his green eyes as he watched the silver light approaching him. A white bone spur suddenly flew out from the scales on his chest. The spur was 1 meter long, looking like a bone in his body with fresh blood on it. Grasping the bone spur, the demon dweller turned tense as his dark green eyes filled with madness. The bone spur shook and met He Qingman's silver weapon. Chi chi. Silver light spots sparkled everywhere while stones flew into the sky and the cave seemed to collapse. He Qingman's silver light flew back like lightning to her hand and became a long spear again. Inside the cave, that demon dweller looked hideous as he took the bone spur and walked out of the chaos in the cave. Another white bone spur flew out from the scale on his back. He held it tightly in his grasp. He glanced once at He Qingman, and then said in weird voice, "Human girl, you haven't tasted men from the Black Scale tribe. I will make you comfortable." He Qingman's expression changed. Shi Yan's eyes got gloomy. Chapter 196. The Spotlight Turned. Chapter 196. The Spotlight Turned. The demon dweller in the lead held 2 white bone spurs as he stood in front of the passageway. He stared fiercely at He Qingman, but didn't immediately attack. In the passageway behind him, stone shards flew everywhere as pieces of shattered rocks fell from the top of the cave. In just a mere moment, there had already been piles of rocks lying at opening of the cave. Another 3-meter-tall, sturdy-looking demon dweller quickly sneaked out of the passageway while dropping his head low. The other 4 demon dwellers that were left also sprinted into that basketball court-sized stone cave before the shattered rocks covered the opening of the cave. The 6 demon dwellers all stood in the bright cave, covered in black scales. They were tall and big, with dark green eyes that glinted with fierce cold light, looking at their prey in the darkness like poisonous snakes who would select people to bite. Master Guya. The second demon dweller that came to the passageway stepped forward and slightly bowed. His voice was sharp like screeching glass, sounding very shrill and harsh. This human girl is still a virgin. Her own blood can be used as a sacrifice. While this demon dweller talked, his dark evil eyes wandered on He Qingman's seducing body. After he spoke, he even licked his lips, with a lustful look in his eyes. All right, later when I fuck her, I will take her own blood. The Black Scale Tribe demon dweller named Guya shouted with a low voice, since you all came out now, then let's start killing. The humans that came in are not just this group. After we kill this wave of them, we still want to find other prey. Duo. The 5 demon dwellers roared. They suddenly spread out as they fiercely shot towards He Qingman, Batty, and the rest. Guya held 2 white bone spurs as he grinned and looked at He Qingman coldly. Human girl, I will not kill you immediately. I will first capture you, then slowly torture you, make you miserable under my big thing. So that you will know the power of a man from the Black Scale Tribe. He Qingman clenched her teeth. She held on tight to that long spear silently. Clang, clang, clang. The sound of clashing metal suddenly came from the silent stone cave. The 5 demon dwellers have spread it out. They each went up to 7 warriors that included Beatty and Zhou. Batty and the rest also spread out. Each one battled with the demon dwellers. When the sharp weapons on their hands hit on these demon dwellers from the Black Scale Tribe, the sharp weapons were all blocked by the black scales. They actually couldn't break through the black scales and could only leave some marks on top of it. Bright light shot around in the cave like beams. Each martial skill formed into a dazzling light, being casted by Batty and the rest. Blood split slash. Batty roared as his left arm opened up with his flesh and blood splurging out. Drops of blood like crystal-clear red gems suddenly flew out from inside his arm, and then combined with the bright red light in his right hand palm. Immediately, they formed into an arc-shaped sharp blood slash, and then fiercely slashed towards a demon dweller that was dueling with him. Bzzz bzzz bzzz. The blood-colored arc light seemed to have ripped through the air, and was actually even sharper than the weapon that he used before. It instantly slashed onto the demon dweller that was in front of him. The blood-colored arc light suddenly shot out, and instantly formed into pieces of blood light, shooting into that demon dweller's chest like blades. In a series of intense metal clashing sounds, those scattered blood lights went through the gaps in between the black scales of the demon dweller, directly shooting into the demon's body. The demon dweller that relied on the black scales as defense suddenly roared as his face was contorted with pain. Batty's martial skill spread out halfway, forming into pieces of blood light, and sank into the demon dweller's body through the gaps in between the black scales. It finally severely wounded this demon dweller. There are cracks in between their scales. If your attacks avoid the scales, you can severely wound them. Batty's expression shook as he hurriedly notified the others. Under Batty's reminder, the rest 6 evil Wonderland warriors also suddenly came to realize the truth and stopped blindly attacking the black scales on these demon dwellers. They started to avoid their own weaknesses. Using the profoundness of their martial skills, they found the gaps in the demon dweller's scales and then started to attack straight towards the flesh of the demon dwellers. The original landslide situation, because of Batty's few words, slowly flipped to the other side. Shiryan quietly nodded. The warriors from the evil Wonderland were indeed extraordinary. When facing the demon tribe, they didn't show a single trace of fear. They were even continuously observing during the battle, finding the weaknesses of these demon dwellers. It was because the fearlessness in their hearts that they could notice the slightest details and see through the weak spots on these Black Scale Tribe demon dwellers. In these 5 demon dwellers, none of them took out a weapon. They all used the most simple and crude method to close up on Batty and the rest, and fought hand to hand. The black scales on these 5 demon dwellers were not only incredibly hard, but also when battling, those scales would suddenly spike up. The scales would turn into pieces of extremely sharp blades. One demon dweller had an extremely fast speed. He quickly sprinted towards an evil Wonderland warrior. Holding against the fierce martial skill of that warrior, he actually managed to hug onto that evil Wonderland warrior. The demon dweller was 3 meters tall. But that evil Wonderland warrior was only 7 meters. He was straight up pressed into the demon's arms. Then the scales on that demon dweller suddenly spiked up, and pieces of sharp blades directly pierced the body of that evil Wonderland warrior. Through a series of pulling, the body of that evil Wonderland warrior was pierced thousands of times by the scales on that demon dweller. There were suddenly countless wounds on his body where his internal organs could be seen. That person shrieked miserably, the life in his eyes slowly drained away. The profound chi in his entire body also eventually dissipated. Yen had been strolling around in the cave. He wasn't in a hurry to intervene. When he realized that a warrior from the evil Wonderland side was killed first by a demon dweller, he quietly walked to that area, absorbed all of the profound chi that flowed out of that person's body, and then finally frowned and looked towards He-Ching-Man. He-Ching-Man's enchanting figure was guarded by layers and layers of strong wind. When she waved the silver long spear in her hand, it would instantly form silver strange snakes that found every opportunity to bite at Guya. Loud whooshing sounds came from He-Ching-Man's body. When one wind blade shot out, countless wind blades would immediately surround Guya. Guya held the white bone spurs. The black scales that covered his body shone in a mysterious magical light. Under the attack of the wind blades, Guya's 3-meter-tall body was fast as lightning as he constantly shifted his position. The wind blades formed by He-Ching-Man's martial spirit shattered that piece of stone wall, but it still couldn't pierce into the gaps of Guya's scales. In Guya's hands, the 2 white bone spurs from inside his body drew streaks of white arcs. Cold murderous spirits flowed out of that pale white bone spur, silently affecting everyone's state of mind. The cold murderous spirits spread inside the cave. It made every demon dweller full of energy, making the evil energy in them become stronger and stronger. On the other hand, He-Ching-Man, Batty, and the rest became more and more irrational under those murderous spirits. They lost their usual calmness and kept making mistakes during battle. The performance of some martial spirits also lost a lot of quality. Yen kept walking around. He secretly took note of the bone spurs in Guya's hand. Using the soul-gathering pearl, he could realize that from the spirits that flowed out of the white bone spurs, there was an evil power that was deluding people's minds. Those spirits spread with a very slow speed, such that the people who were battling couldn't notice at all. Because of those spirits, the situation in the cave slowly changed in an unfavorable way. Even He-Ching-Man couldn't notice this type of change. The demon dwellers became fiercer and fiercer. Their power became stronger and stronger. In contrast, the evil Wonderland warriors all had tired expressions. Their eyes were filled with irritation, and the speed in which their profound chi circulated also became slower. Yen observed for a moment and suddenly frowned. He-Ching-Man, take note of those 2 bone spurs. The power that's spreading from those bone spurs will make the demon dwellers stronger and stronger while making you guys more irrational. It is slowly weakening your power. The spirit spreading from the 2 bone spurs will become the winning factor. If you can't stop it, all your people will die right here. He-Ching-Man's delicate body shook. Her bright eyes suddenly shot out a cold light. She looked towards the bone spurs carried by Guya and seemed to have finally noticed. Guya, who was struggling with He-Ching-Man, suddenly revealed a surprised look in his dark green eyes. He glimpsed at Yen from afar and then said coldly, "Boy, you sure have sharp eyes. You actually saw through my tricks. Shao, kill this boy first so he won't cause more trouble." Understood, Master. The demon dweller that was battling with Zhou Nan suddenly abandoned Zhou Nan. His broad body was like a doorboard, directly pressing towards Yen. Yan's expression was unstirred as he said lightly, "Well, after watching for so long, I should exercise a little too. Be careful. If you die here, it would be hard for us to account for this to the Yang family." He-Ching-Man shouted, "Don't fight with them up front. I've already sent out a signal. Sister Nan and the others will find us soon. You only need to hold up for a moment." Although He-Ching-Man didn't like Yen, but she knew Yan's true identity. She knew that young Qingdi highly valued Yen. To find out whether he was alive or not, he made a prediction at the expense of 3 drops of immortal blood. These news were unknown to others, but she got to know through Xia Xinyan. If Yen died while she was around, then not only would the Yang family blade the evil wonderland, they might also release their anger on the He family. This was definitely not something He-Chi-Man could handle. However, her concerned shout accidentally revealed a crucial word. The Yang family. Inside the cave. Upon hearing the word, all the Black-Scale Tribe demon dwellers suddenly bursted with a bone-deep hatred in their dark green eyes. Guya, who was in the lead, also suddenly roared towards the sky. The Yang family. You damned kid, you're from the Yang family. I will pull out your tendons and peel off your skin, so you can have a taste of our Black-Scale Tribe's cruel torture. The most vicious Yang family killed countless people of our tribe. The reason why we were willing to put our life at risk to come through a tear in space is to have revenge on the Yang family. All of the Black-Scale Tribe demon dwellers suddenly abandoned their opponents. They each clenched their teeth, and with the extreme hate shooting out of their dark green eyes, they came directly at Shiryen. He-Chi-Man originally wanted Shiryen to be careful out of good intention, but she didn't realize that her good intention caused this result. Shiryen frowned deeply. Before all of the Black-Scale Tribe demon dwellers got close, he started to gather his power as he quietly formed gravitational fields. The Yang family is sure something. They can actually make these cruel demon dwellers get so hateful. I wonder how many evil things did Yang family people do in the 4th demon area that made demon dwellers go insane. Shiryen quickly took action as he secretly thought in his mind. Chapter 197. It's my turn. Chapter 197. Now it's my turn. The 6 demon dwellers at once walked toward Shiryen as soon as they heard he was from the Yang family. Shiryen, who was roaming in the cave, suddenly became their #1 target. Shiryen took a few steps back and leaned his back against the wall in case he was attacked on both the front and back sides. Seeing the demon dwellers encircle Shiryen, He-Chi-Man regretted a lot, so she yelled, "Protect him." Her light body swayed across Barty toward Shiryen. The rest 6 of the Disaster Realm warriors also rushed to the demon dwellers in case Shiryen was killed. Kill! The bone spur roared and turned into 2 streams of light, shooting forward quickly. While flying, the 2 bone spurs seemed to crack the space, and on their tips appeared green light spots. The green light looked like the fire of Ghost. It split and tried to cover Shiryen. Shiryen felt a vicious smell rushing to him before he was about to control the gravitational field. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Shining green spots exaggerated in front of his eyes. They were poisonous worms with green thorns. Those worms smelt like Guya, filled with vicious smell inside their bodies. And that smell wave stuck to Shiryen altogether. Shiryen's body shook and his eyes showed a little pain. The spirit attack from the vicious smell stunned his soul and consciousness. Suddenly he lost control of the gravitational field. At the same time, those poisonous worms became green light spots and fell down like a rain. Petrification. Shiryen's expression suddenly turned serious, and there was cold light exploding in his eyes. In just a moment, his skin turned Kelly green and as hard as iron. He went into the 3rd stage of petrification. Dang, dang, dang. Dense green worms rushed toward him. Their thorns stabbed onto Shiryen mightily, though they didn't get through him. Guya shouted as a surprised light crossed his dark green eyes. The green demon worm was from the demon area. Their thorns were extremely sharp. Guya had never failed as long as he shot out the green demon worms while in a battle. The green demon worms could penetrate human body and nibble human entrails up. Though small, the green demon worms were hideous creatures. They were fed by Guya with his own blood and flesh. Even demon dwellers couldn't defend them when under their attacks and would be invaded by these creatures. As Guya expected, human warriors emphasized the accumulation of profound chi. However, their bodies were weak, so they couldn't defend the assault from the green demon worms. Guya fed the green demon worms mainly to attack Yang family members with immortal martial spirit. Even those Yang warriors with immortal martial spirit couldn't prevent the green demon worms from nibbling their organs once the worms got into their bodies. In a battle, once the green demon worms got into one's body, the immortal martial spirit couldn't stop them from nibbling the body. In a short time, that one's organs would be eaten up. Those green demon worm rushed up and tried to penetrate Shiryen's body, only to find out that his skin was as hard as steel, confusing Guya a lot. "Get lost." Shuryen sneered, and then a dark light appeared around his body like a shield protecting him. The green demon worms covered Shuryen's body and kept stabbing at him with their thorns, only failed to break his skin. As soon as the dark light shield formed, it pushed all the green demon worm away. Boom! Guya's 2 white bone spurs shot out quickly to strike onto the dark light shield mightily. The dark light shield exploded at once into a cloud of dark light, and then the 2 bone spurs stabbed into Shuryen's chest. Puh! The 2 bone spurs went 3 inches into Shuryen's chest. As they shook, the green demon worms appeared to try and get into Shuryen's body again. Shuryen was astounded. Kill! He-Ching-Man finally arrived. Her hair flying, she produced wind swords from her body and thrust them towards Guya. Guya giggled, stretched out his hand, and the 2 bone spurs flew back to his hand. Kid, the green demon worm went into your body. Just wait for it to eat you up. The Guya glanced at Shuryen and then turned to fight against He-Ching-Man. That kid is dying. Let him alone. Kill these guys. The 5 demon dwellers stopped assaulting Shuryen and turned to fight against the evil Wonderland warriors. Shuryen was ignored. Clenching his teeth, Shuryen continued to produce profound chi to drive those green demon worm out. The profound chi became like lightning and strongly struck onto the green demon worms. However, under the attack of the profound chi, those green demon worms felt nothing and still kept going forward to Shuryen's heart. Shuryen's head got numb. Without further thinking, he tried to trigger the negative power. At that time, hot power of flame flew out from the blood vein ring secretly, and soon went into Shuryen's body. Suddenly, Shuryen felt as if in a big fire with his whole body turning red. The power of the earth core flame! The power soon extended inside Shuryen's body and heated him up. The stone cave became hotter and hotter. The green demon worms inside Shuryen's body were soon scorched before it could do any harm to Shuryen. Enough! Shuryen's spirit sank into the blood vein ring and sent messages to Earth Core Flame. The flame power disappeared, but Shuryen's flesh was still burning, greatly covered by steam. At that crucial point, the Earth Core Flame came out to Shuryen's rescue. But its flame power was too strong. Though it had controlled carefully, it had nearly burnt Shuryen into ashes. If Shuryen hadn't refined his body in the magma pond, he couldn't have endured the flame power. Taking a deep breath, Shuryen triggered his energy, wrapped the dead bodies of the green demon worms with his profound chi, and pushed them to the 2 blood holes in his chest. Gritting his teeth, Shuryen gouged the black bodies out from the blood hole with a gloomy face. Seeing the flesh at the blood holes were wriggling, Shuryen knew it was recovering itself. He got a little relieved, and then looked to Guya in hatred. Guya was at Earth Realm, and his bone spurs were so sharp that they could break Shuryen's petrification martial spirit and leave bloody holes on his chest. Shuryen was a little scared since he found that the petrification martial spirit couldn't defend against everything. Guya had injected his spirit power in every green demon worm, so their deaths let him notice Shuryen's abnormality. You can kill the green demon worm inside your body? Guya looked at Shuryen in surprise. The green demon worms won't be hurt by profound chi but sharp weapons. What energy did you use? Flame power. Such strong flame power. It's my turn. Shuryen grinned, and soon calmed down. Brutal, murderous, and crazy energy exploded in his body, and he suddenly became much skinnier. His energy doubled in an instant. The first sky of Rampage. Entangle. Pointing at Guya, Shuryen ordered. The gravitational field which had hidden beside Guya suddenly triggered and dragged Guya in. Carrying the white bone spurs, Guya was in a fierce battle with He-Ching-Man, and his body suddenly quivered as if drunk. He couldn't even stand still. What the hell? Guya yelled and looked around to see what had restrained him. Entangle. 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 Shuryen kept calm, pointed at those demon dwellers and ordered word by word. The rest 5 demon dwellers looked stronger than the evil Wonderland warriors. Because their black scales were hard, they rushed toward Barty and others fearlessly. Once approached by the demon dwellers, Barty and others found it hard to fight back, and they had to retreat from the attacks. However, as Shuryen spoke, in Tangle, the situation in the cave reversed. Like Guya, the other 5 demon dwellers also shook inside the cave and could only move in a small area, being not able to attack again. Hichingmon's eyes showed surprise as she looked at Shuryen. She couldn't believe what she saw at all. Barty, Zhou Nan, and other evil Wonderland warriors were all shocked too, watching their adversaries swirling up in the air, not knowing what happened to them. To most of their surprise, they didn't find anything even though they had sent out their spirit power for detection. "What are you doing?" "Kill." Shuryen was impatient. "Oh yeah. Hichingman just realized then." She blushed and yelled, "Take them quickly." The evil Wonderland warriors soon woke up and hurried to fight back. Chapter 198. Insight the Danger. Chapter 198. Understanding the Danger. Sponsored by Caleb Engwa and Fabrice Querard. The 4 gravitational fields tightly bound the 6 demon dwellers. Under the effect of the gravitational field, their bodies were involuntarily rotated by a strangling power as the black scales on their bodies uttered pa-pa sounds. In the gravitational field, the 2 different forces impacted each other, which also affected other force. The power inside the demon dweller's body was also affected. The speed of gathering power suddenly slowed down, causing it to be difficult for them to maximize their power. However, the black scales on the demon dweller's body were indeed very strange. Under the effect of the gravitational field, their flesh didn't torn up. The powerful body of the demon dwellers were fully seen at this moment. A shout from Hichingman caused the warriors from the evil Wonderland to be dragged back to their sense, and they rushed towards the demon dwellers. "Don't come here." When Shuryen saw those people wanting to rush towards the demon dwellers, he immediately shouted, "Attack from afar. Once you get near them, you will also be bound by the power." Barty and the others' face slightly changed, and they immediately stopped. After measuring a safe distance from the demon dwellers, they casted their specialty martial skills to attack those demon dwellers. After Shuryen kept stimulating the negative forces, his body strength doubled. He immediately rushed towards Guya. As the owner of the gravitational field, he naturally wouldn't be affected by the gravitational field. After he rushed into the gravitational field, he immediately casted out his finger gun. The 5 fingers, which became like a sharp knife, directly pierced into Guya's pupil. The demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe, not only were their bodies covered full with scales, but even their cheeks and necks were covered by the scales. The black scales were extremely strong. It was comparable to Shuryen's petrified body. Without the help of weapons, it was very difficult to pierce through these scales. Only in their eyes were there no scales, causing it to be the weakest place to attack. The dark green pupils of Guya revealed a panic expression for the first time. He helplessly watched as Shuryen's 5 fingers came in. He wanted to use his hands to block it, but when he waved his arms, it was difficult to grasp the direction and scale because his whole body felt like it was in mud. He couldn't use the full extent of his power. "A moment ago, weren't you very fierce?" Shuryen sneered as his fingers quickly approached and suddenly stabbed into Guya's eyes. "Hua hua it yue." At this moment, the scales on Guya's body suddenly shaking up, causing them to suddenly come alive and crank. On the scales, in the small spots that were as small as coins, a murderous intent as intense as gunpowder suddenly bursted out. Shuryen suddenly remembered the ice-cold flame's words. The demon dwellers of Black Scale Tribe, when in a pinch, can use the scales on their body to attack. Those scales were like a blade. Its impact was extremely vicious. Once being shot through by those scales, the body from the warriors on the same realm would be cut into pieces. Scale armor. It was both the defensive armor for the Black Scale Tribe and also their most important weapon to attack with. However, those demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe won't use the scales on their body to attack unless they are in a pinch, because once the scales shot out, their body will also be damaged and they will find it difficult to recover again. Unless they were at the moment of life or death, the demon dwellers definitely wouldn't go to such extreme measures. In Guya's dark green eyes, it was filled with madness as he peered at Shuryen's fingers that came over and then smiled a cruel smile. Yan was very familiar with this kind of desperate, cruel smile. The hand that was going to pierce into Guya's eyes suddenly withdrew. At this time, Yan was very calm and didn't dare to act recklessly. He quickly stormed out from the gravitational field. Fall back into the tunnel. After he came out from the gravitational field, Yan scanned the battlefield, finding out that the scales on the remaining 3 demon dwellers from Black Scale Tribe was also shaken up. It was the same as Guya. They were ready to die, so they used their last attack. Those evil Wonderland warriors who surrounded the demon dwellers and were attacking happily became suddenly stunned after they heard that and looked strangely towards Yan. What's wrong? He-Chi-Man was also stunned. The silver spear that she controlled had already pierced through the scale from a demon dweller and was ready to take that demon dweller's life. At this critical moment, Yan suddenly said to withdraw, making her confused. If you don't want to die, then go quickly. Seeing the scales from the demon dwellers shaking up faster and faster, Yan didn't have any time to explain and quickly rushed towards the tunnel. Listen to him. He-Chi-Man was stunned for a moment. From Yan's tension, she immediately realized something wrong. After she shouted towards Barty and the others, she was the second one to rush towards the tunnel. The warriors from the evil Wonderland finally reacted and began to quickly withdraw back and rushed into the tunnel. Shio, shio, shio. Inside the stone cave, the scales flew apart. The scales were like a sharp blade. With amazing penetrated power, they shot out one after another from the demon dwellers' bodies and flew in all directions. The scales weren't affected by the gravitational field. For a brief duration, those scales flew apart inside the stone cave like arrows fired from the sky and covered the whole cave. Yan and He-Chi-Man were the first to enter the tunnel. Barty and Jo-Nan also knew that Yan and He-Chi-Man wouldn't retreat at this critical moment without reason, so they had also withdrawn early. Before those scales were shot out, they were already inside the tunnel. However, there are 2 evil Wonderland warriors who were a step too late in rushing into the tunnel. Their body blocked the tunnel exit. 2 extremely shrill screams immediately came from the mouth of these 2 men. Yan was facing them and could clearly see their body being hit by those scales, causing their bodies to immediately split up and turn into hornets' nest as they turned into pieces of meat. Those scales' armors were still flying around. They were like a dense knife net and filled the entire stone cave. Yan's face became sullen and secretly clammed up. This desperate final attack from the Black Scale Tribe warriors was extremely fierce. It was enough to instantly behead an unaware opponent. If he wasn't told by the ice-cold flame that the Black Scale Tribe had this move and his fingers pierced into Guya's eyes, then maybe his body would also be torn out by those scales that came out from Guya's body. As the scales flew around, those demon dwellers' flesh and blood blurred. Apparently, their body were heavily damaged. When those scales had bursted out, the demon dwellers' body strength suddenly multiplied. Among them, Guya was the strongest. After those scales flew out, his body suddenly bursted out a surging explosive power that even tore a gap inside the gravitational field. Guya, whose body full of wounds, looked malignant. In his dark green pupils, there was endless hatred. However, he didn't stay too long in the cave. Before he understands the eccentricity of the gravitational field, he didn't dare rely on his short-term upgraded strength to kill Yan and He-Chi-Man. He awkwardly rushed toward another tunnel and left those bounded demon dwellers. Inside the cave, the scales seemed to have their own life. After they stopped spinning, it stayed in the air for a few seconds before suddenly flying towards Guya. Guya's body suddenly became like a magnet and withdrew back those scales that had been shot out. After that, those scales were very accurately re-pierced into his flesh. When Guya retreated into the tunnel, those scales became the most solid barrier on his body once again. It actually can be withdrawn back. Yan was stunned and shocked by those Black Scale Tribe tricks. He didn't think that those demon dwellers not only can release those scales to attack, but also can be withdrawn back. Such a trick like this was really impossible for others to replicate. Yan didn't dare to pursue Guya, who escaped, and only watched him as he escaped. Inside the stone cave, the scales from the other 5 demon dwellers were still flying around. Those scales defied any law and were extremely dense. If one recklessly rushed into the cave, then they would only become a target. Maybe they would even be pierced through by those scales and turned into a hornet nest. Shiyan, He Man, and the others hid inside the tunnel and looked dignified at those scales. Those 5 demon dwellers inside the gravitational field were slightly frightened and continued to struggle inside the gravitational field, trying to escape from the gravitational field. Unfortunately, those 5 demon dwellers were only in the disaster realm. After the scales burst out, their body also formed a short-term explosive power, but weren't as powerful as Guya's, not being able to tear up a gap in the gravitational field. Shiyan didn't dare to act recklessly and only stayed inside the tunnel before those scales stopped moving. How did you know that the Black Scale Tribe had a counterattack such as this? He-Man's eyes was full of strange light as she looked at Shiyan. Yesterday, didn't you say that you hadn't heard about the Black Scale Tribe before? Why are you suddenly so familiar with the Black Scale Tribe? Are you hiding something and don't really want to help us? Shiyan slightly frowned, but didn't look at her. While looking at those flying scales, he said lightly, "Yesterday, I still didn't know anything about the Black Scale Tribe. However, the magical treasure that I have can insight into those demon dweller soul, vaguely finding out what they want to do. Just now, when I was attacking Guya, I happened to use that magical treasure and found out Guya's plan and then reminded you guys." He put all the reason into the magical treasure that he had. He-Man frowned. She wasn't satisfied with Shiyan's answer, so it was like that. Looks like the Yang family is really powerful. Their secret treasures are countless. Nothing to do with the Yang family, I still haven't gone to the Immortal Island. Who knows what strange secret treasures that the Yang family have? Shiyan explained. What? He-Man was even more surprised, and her eyesight toward Shiyan became filled with more doubt. Didn't you come from a remote area? Is it an area that had such magical treasure? From He-Man's view, the Merchant Union was a remote area in the Grace mainland. Shiyan, who came from that area, even if he has secret treasures, it shouldn't be able to reach this level, right? Remote area? Shiyan heard a disdain meaning from her tone and grunted. Any place has its magical place. Don't think that the Endless Sea is the center of the Grace mainland. In many places, there is also many mysterious treasures like this. Of course I know that the Endless Sea isn't the center of the Grace mainland. He-Man frowned, and then slightly disdained, but the place that you came from is definitely a remote area. I am the warrior from the evil wonderland, so I would naturally know where the places that have many strong warriors are, and where those that don't. Shiyan curled his lips, being too lazy to continue speaking with her. Chi-Man. From the deep tunnel behind Shiyan, they suddenly heard Lin Nan calling. The sound was far away, so Lin Nan and the others probably only just received He-Man's message and finally rushed over here. He-Man was startled and hurriedly said, "Our people have arrived. Now we can attack back. This trip, we will follow that Guya and directly find their troops, cleaning them up in one fell sweep to lessen the time spent on this island." Shiyan nodded. Just as he was about to answer, he immediately felt an abnormality through the soul-gathering pearl. After he sensed a bit, Shiyan's face suddenly changed color and immediately shouted, "Get out from the cave now." Translated by Y. Chapter 199, Rampage. Chapter 199, Rampage. Through the soul-gathering pearl, Shiyan felt an extremely powerful life force from the bottom of the mine. From his understanding of life force, he can be sure that the powerful life force came from a black-scaled demon dweller who was at least at the 3rd sky of the Nirvana realm. The black-scaled demon dweller who was in the 2nd sky of the Nirvana realm was definitely a frightening existence in the Black Rock Island. Although Lin Nan has the same Nirvana realm cultivation, through the battle with the demon dwellers, Shiyan was absolutely sure that in the same realm, a black-scale demon dweller was absolutely more powerful than a human warrior. In other words, Lin Nan certainly wasn't that demon dweller's opponent. The higher the realm that a demon dweller had, the greater the risk was when passing through the unstable points in space. Maybe when this demon dweller came to the endless sea, he was injured and just recovered recently. Maybe Guya's injury angered this guy, and when he was angry, his life force became too strong, thus allowing Shiryen to feel it through the soul-gathering pearl. At this moment, this demon dweller was moving up quickly from the bottom of the mine towards Shiryen. Soon, that demon dweller will appear here, and even if Lin Nan arrived here, she probably wasn't that demon dweller's opponent. Shiryen understood his own strength. Even when he used the second sky of Rampage and doubled his strength, he only can deal with a warrior at the Earth realm at most. That demon dweller was in the second sky of the Nirvana realm, and his body was also extremely powerful. If he fights with this demon dweller, he doesn't have any chance of survival. Therefore, his first thought is to leave quickly. What happened? He Ching Man exclaimed. She didn't know what happened, but from Shiryen's expression, she knew that something terrible must have happened. Leave here first. Shiryen's face became sullen as he returned to the back and rushed quickly towards the exit. When he entered, Shiryen remembered every detail of this cave, and he was already clear about this maze-like cave because he had already formed a map in his mind. Shiryen only answered once and immediately left, making He Ching Man more surprised. Miss He, what should we do? The warriors from the evil wonderland looked at He Ching Man at a loss about what to do. He Ching Man frowned. After hesitating for a while, she shouted, "Withdraw. You guys have also seen that guy's strange methods. He knows the situation better than anyone else. If he wants to leave, then he must have his own reasons." Barty and the others nodded their heads. He Ching Man took the lead. After swaying for a bit, she turned into green light that rushed towards Shiryen's direction. Shiryen quickly flew across the tunnel. With the profound chi in his body flowing into his legs, a sound came from the black hard rocks every time he landed. Some of the rocks were even broken apart. Looks like he needs to find a martial skill that increases his speed. While Shiryen was moving, he secretly thought. As far as he knew, there were many martial skills that increase speed. Once learned, it can greatly enhance the speed and can also make the body's movements unpredictable during the battle. When he was at the Shi family in the Tianyun city, he found several kinds of martial skills for body cultivation in the martial spirit palace of the Shi family. However, those martial skills level were far too low, so he didn't use them. And also, there was usually no special occasion or battle that would make him in need to use this kind of martial skill. However, today through the soul-gathering pearl, when he sensed there was a demon dweller with the cultivation of the second sky of the Nirvana realm rushing towards him with lightning speed, he felt for the first time that his speed was too slow. At a crucial time, speed can be a lifesaver. Chi. In front of the tunnel, the sound of movement in the air suddenly came. Shiryen stopped and looked up towards the front. A plump figure stood there at the tunnel exit with a long shadow following it. This figure's speed was too fast, causing an illusion of a long shadow that appeared very strange. Pho! Lin Nan suddenly stopped, showing a surprised look at Shiryen, and then frowned. What happened? Where are He Ching Man and the others? After he saw that the one who was coming was Lin Nan, Shiryen relaxed. They are in the back. We need to get out from here as soon as possible. Get out from here? Lin Nan was stunned. I still haven't seen the demon dwellers. Our objective here is to clean up the demon dwellers located on the island, and before we accomplish the mission, how can we leave? If you guys want to complete the mission, then it is your problem. I don't want to get involved. Shiryen was too lazy to explain anymore, so he passed Lin Nan and quickly rushed out. He already felt that the speed of the demon dweller who has the cultivation at the second sky of the Nirvana realm was gradually accelerating, and soon, that demon dweller will arrive at his location. Time was being wasted, and in order to save his life, Shiryen didn't want to waste any more time. Explaining would only waste a minute of time, but in this moment, every minute was extremely valuable. Maybe if he had explained, he would have already ruined himself. So what happened? Lin Nan exclaimed, I received He Ching Man's message. She said that you guys have encountered the demon dwellers. Just ask He Ching Man yourself. She will be here in a moment. Shiryen replied and kept running towards the exit. Lin Nan wanted to ask more, but she found that Shiryen had already disappeared. What a strange guy. I don't know what he came to the Black Rock Island for, even though he said that he wanted to train himself. After seeing the powerful demon dwellers, he actually ran away instead. Lin Nan frowned and muttered, being full of doubts. Foosh fush shhh. Figures suddenly came out from the tunnel, one after another. In a slightly narrow cave, Shen Dan, Peng Pei, Shi Bai were bringing another 10 warriors and was about to enter the tunnel. Shi Yan suddenly appeared. What? Shen Dan exclaimed, and then looked strangely at Shi Yan as he said, Why did you come back? Yeah. Didn't you said that you guys encountered the demon dwellers? What are you running from? Peng Pei smiled and then said, Don't say that you are scared of the demon dwellers and frightened by them. Ha ha ha, then why did you come here in the first place? Didn't you say that you want to train yourself? Shi Yan was too lazy to mind them and passed them. Wait. Shi Bai blocked Shi Yan way, his face full of doubt. What did you guys encounter? Where is he, Qing Man? Even though you want to flee, you need to make things clear. Yeah, there is nothing to be afraid of. We have already come. Shen Dan smiled with his eyes filled with disdain, not to mention, Sister Nan already went ahead. Sister Nan is in the Nirvana realm. With her here, those demon dwellers won't be able to harm you. I really don't know what you're afraid of. These three apparently assumed that Shi Yan was a coward and that Shi Yan was scared after seeing powerful demon dwellers. Shi Yan sneered, and then said toward Shi Bai, who blocked his way, Move, I don't care if you guys want to be heroes. Don't block my way. Before you make things clear first, don't even think about leaving. Shi Bai's eyes became cold, and then said, You really think that your surname is Yang? Even if your surname is Yang, I still don't care. You are only in the disaster realm. Even though you really came from the Yang family, certainly you aren't an important figure. In this Black Rock Island, there is no way you can come and go as you want. Shi Yan's face suddenly turned cloudy. He didn't continue to explain and maintained his body in the first sky of Rampage. Shi Yan suddenly burst out like a bullet towards Shi Bai. He dares to attack. Shi Bai screamed, and then shook his head. With the cultivation of Disaster Realm, he dares to attack the warrior with the cultivation of the second sky of the Earth Realm. I don't know if he is too confident or already crazy. He must be frightened by the demon dwellers. I already can't tell who he is. The other evil Wonderland warriors who were there exposed the expression of ridicule and sneered at Shi Yan in sarcasm. Shi Bai snorted. His body still blocked the way and didn't move a bit. His hands drew a semicircular arc, and then dark yellow light quickly condensed, forming a layer of solid soil barrier. Shi Bai's martial spirit can control the power of the earth and formed the earth power into Earth Wall, which is enough to withstand the impact from a normal Earth Realm warrior. After forming the Earth Wall, Shi Bai sneered, backed up 2 steps, and then hid into the tunnel while coldly watching Shi Yan attack. Boom! A dull explosion sound suddenly came out from that dark yellow light wall. Under the impact from Shi Yan, the wall suddenly twisted a bit and immediately exploded. Shen Dan, Peng Pei, and the others' face suddenly changed. Shi Yan's body smashed mercilessly at the defenseless Shi Bai body, causing him to fly out. Before he even landed, Shi Yan already passed him and had disappeared into the dark tunnel. What? Shen Dan covered his mouth with his face full of horror while looking towards the direction of where Shi Yan disappeared into. How can it be? Peng Pei exclaimed, Even I wasn't able to break through Brother Shi's light wall. That kid, how could that kid break through it? Who knows? Shen Dan smiled wryly and his expression full of surprise. I think we have looked down on him. Maybe this guy was really the Yang's direct descendant, otherwise, how can he have such powerful strength? We maybe really have been misled. Impossible. How would I have never heard about this little monster from Yang family? This Shi Yan, I have really never heard of before, and he also said that his surname was Shi, so how can he be from the Yang family? Peng Pei shouted. At this moment, Shi Bai slowly stood up and walked towards them. His eyes were full of hate. Let's find Qing An first. After we get out, I will deal with him. Shen Dan and Peng Pei looked at each other. Their expression was very strange, but they didn't say anything. Along with Shi Bai, They rushed toward the direction that Shiryen came from. Translated by Y. Chapter 200. 7 Magical Shifts. Chapter 207 Magical Shifts. The sun was shining. Shiryen jumped out of the cave as fast as lightning, looked at the sun, picked a direction, and then left quickly. A great shake occurred in the cave and the whole quarry seemed to quiver. Vicious energy exploded in the quarry, while clouds of black demon air were ascending from the cracks on the top of the mountain. Fierce and panic screams came out from the cave. Shiryen's advancing body slowed down a little. As he held the soul-gathering pearl, his face turned gloomier. Through the soul-gathering pearl, he felt that there was a massive clashing inside the cave. Apparently, the evil Wonderland warriors had met the demon dwellers. Shiryen was sure that it must be Lin Nan who was fighting against the Nirvana Realm demon dweller. Although Lin Nan was at the same realm, Shiryen didn't think she could win. Under the strikes of the demon dwellers, Lin Nan had little chance to survive, not mentioning taking out the rest evil Wonderland warriors alive. After detection, Shiryen knew he couldn't stay there any longer, so he sped up and left in a hurry. Bang, bang, bang. The quarry was about to collapse. After the great bombs, the wall of the cave soon became cracked. Shiryen's expression changed again before he accelerated his speed even faster. In an hour, Shiryen arrived at the mountain top that he stayed the night before. He began to watch the quarry. Some black spots were moving and running away. Shiryen realized they were the evil Wonderland warriors. With a sigh, Shiryen knew the evil Wonderland warriors were in trouble. Observing carefully, he found that those demon dwellers didn't run out of the quarry to chase them for some reason. Getting a little relieved, Shiryen sat down on the mountain silently and dived his consciousness into the blood vein ring and began to communicate with the ice-cold flame. Find me a martial skill that can help me speed up and change my body. No. No. The ice-cold flame went silent, picking martial skill for Shiryen. Shiryen waited with his eyebrows frowned. Half an hour later, the ice-cold flame responded. There is a martial skill called Magical Shifts. It includes 7 shifts. Once you trained with it, you can speed up several times. This martial skill is very demanding about one's body condition. Your body and disaster realm consciousness could at most master 2 shifts. I will teach you the basic 2 shifts. Shiryen was surprised and said joyfully, great. The 2 shifts are Phantom Shift and Electric Shift. The Phantom Shift can let you generate shadows that could baffle your enemies. The higher your level is, the more shadows you can generate. According to my observation, you can produce 2 shadows with it. But the shadows would disappear in an instant, so a high realm warrior can detect your real body in a short time. The Electric Shift can speed you up as fast as lightning, but it consumes a lot of energy. You need to use it cautiously. Phantom Shift? Electric Shift? Shiryen's eyes sparkled as he heard about the 2 shifts. He knew the Phantom Shift was merely a martial skill that couldn't compare to the Phantom Martial Spirit of the Zwa family. Once the Phantom Martial Spirit of the Zwa family was triggered, the Phantom could own the warrior's consciousness, so even a high-level warrior couldn't detect which is their real body. The Phantom Martial Spirit of the Zwa family can change the outcome of a battle greatly. In a battle, once the Zwa family member used the Phantom Martial Spirit, his adversary couldn't distinct the Phantom and the real body. So the Phantom Martial Spirit was a good weapon for escape. The Phantom Shift was a far cry from the Phantom Martial Spirit of the Zwa family because it disappeared in such a short time. In a battle, the result is decided in an instant. So if one could baffle his enemy for a moment and took the chance to attack, the Phantom Shift could guarantee one's success. The Electric Shift could enhance one's speed like lightning. But it took too much energy. Once the Electric Shift was triggered, one would lose a lot of profound chi even though he could approach the enemy in a flash. To escape with the help of the Electric Shift when you encounter a formidable enemy would be a good choice. If the enemy was too strong, most profound chi couldn't do any help. However, with the Electric Shift, a little profound chi could make a difference. Shiryen's eyes were shining brightly as he quietly listened to the ice-cold flame about the Phantom Shift and the Electric Shift, and figured how to master them. I have told you how to train in it. These are the 2 basic shifts so you can handle them. With a little training, you can master it. But the 7 shadow shifts demand strict body condition. Warriors in the ancient times had strong bodies, so if you want to train in it, you should first strengthen your body. The martial spirit that you can trigger in a short time must be from the ancient times and requires a strong body. Take more time to communicate with the earth core flame and train with its power. The ice-cold flame conveyed its consciousness to Shi Yan through the blood vein ring. Since their deal was reached, the ice-cold flame began to help Shi Yan wholeheartedly. It knew it was great luck to meet such a master. Only when Shi Yan reached Nirvana realm would it get out of the blood vein ring. I got it. I will withdraw my consciousness. Shi Yan replied, sat down cross-legged, and closed his eyes to feel the phantom shift and the electric shift. The phantom shift and the electric shift benefited each other. One should first trigger the electric shift to produce shadows, which means he had to master the electric shift first. The key point in training with the electric shift laid in the veins in one's legs. You have to make profound explosion happen when the profound chi flow in your veins. Then the profound chi would form the explosion of profound chi and violent strikes. With the violent strikes of the profound explosion, the electric shift could speed up the warrior to become as fast as lightning. Shi Yan held his breath and carefully triggered his profound chi to flow in his veins in the legs, looking for the spots for profound explosion. Time flied while he was training. Da-da, da-da. Heavy steps came from afar. Shi Yan woke up and opened his eyes slowly. Shi Yan! Damn you! Shi Bai cursed with deep hatred in his eyes, and then dashed toward Shi Yan with blood all over his body. Shi Yan frowned and stood up. What's it got to do with me? A dozen evil Wonderland warriors went into the cave, but only 7 got out alive. Lin Nan and Peng Pei didn't appear. Only Shi Bai, Sheng Yidan, He Qing Man, and 4 doleful disaster warriors, including Barty and Zhou Nan, came back. Taking a few glances at He Qing Man and Shi Bai, Shi Yan sighed. He knew those who didn't appear were all dead. Sister Nan stayed at the entrance to protect us. He Qing Man's eyes turned moist. Sister Nan must be dead. She couldn't compete with the demon dwellers. Why are there so many able demon dwellers on the Black Stone Island? Those guys seem to be at the 3rd sky of Nirvana realm. All dead. Ping Pei is dead in the cave too. All dead. Sheng Yidan looked pale and overwhelmed. Those demon dwellers are too able. Even at the same realm, they are much stronger than us. They all died miserably. Ping Pei was torn apart by the demon dwellers. He Qing Man's voice was shaking. With a sigh, Shi Yan shook his head sadly. I knew it. I reminded you when I left. Why did you still stay in it? He Qing Man wailed. It's all my fault. I thought if Sister Nan was there, we could kill those demon dwellers. If we had withdrawn early, no one would have died. It's all my fault. I caused Sister Nan's death. She sobbed. Sheng Yidan also cried. Tears rained down from her pale face. We should have withdrawn early. If it were not for saving us, Sister Nan wouldn't have died. You. All because of you. If you had explained earlier, no one would have died. Shi Bai stared at Shi Yan in hostility and exclaimed, You made them die. Who is it to blame? Shi Yan held his expression and said coldly, I firstly reminded He Qing Man, then Lin Nan. I told them not to stay there any longer. I also warned you. You didn't believe me. Who is to blame? It's you. Shi Bai shouted and flew toward Shi Yan with a murderous look. Chapter 201, I'm your elder brother. Chapter 201, I'm your elder brother. Shi Bai went insane. He put the blame on Shi Yan after the disaster in the quarry. Shi Yan's behavior in the cave had irritated Shi Bai, and now Shi Yan's attitude made him even more angrier, so he made up his mind to teach Shi Yan a lesson. He Qing Man, Sheng Yidan, and the others were still mourning. It was too late when they realized that they needed to stop Shi Bai from assaulting Shi Yan. Just like a beast, Shi Bai's body was covered with yellow light. Meanwhile, golden light balls flew out from his hands. These big golden balls contained great power. Shi Yan's expression shifted. Without further thinking, he triggered his petrification martial spirit as well as the dark light shield, and entered the second sky of Rampage. Shiryu was at the second sky of Earth Realm, which was one level higher than Shiryu. Shiryu would be easily killed if he was not careful. With chi gushing into his body, Shiryu's look suddenly changed as a brutal and murderous smell pervaded around him. Around Shiryu, the smell rippled and formed a strong wave. He-Chi-Man and Xing Idan stopped crying and looked to Shiryu in surprise, shocked by him. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, golden balls kept striking to Shiryu and exploded around him. Shiryu's dark light shield broke at once as his body flew up into the air, and he spurted a mouthful of blood. Just by one strike, Shiryu was wounded, his entails hurting severely. Being one level higher than Shiryu struck with all his strength. He wanted Shiryu to die. However, Shiryu was not dead. Shiryu stood up after he landed on the ground, and he said firmly, "Shiryu, I won't forget it. You will still remember me when you go to hell." Shiryu gritted, "We would have been safe if you didn't come to the Black Stone Island. We wouldn't have lost so much if it weren't for you." He put all the blame on Shiryu, so he had an excuse to kill him. Shiryu didn't stop, and his face turned red while his eyes showed yellow light. More impressive power bursting in his body, Shiryu dashed like lightning towards Shiryu again. This time, he didn't use the golden light balls, but flew straight to Shiryu, so that even Shiryu couldn't see his trail clearly. Since he was one level higher than Shiryu, and he was using all his strength, their difference was rather obvious. Shiryu regretted that he didn't ask for martial skills from the ice-cold flame earlier. If he had mastered the electric shift and the shadow shift, he could now teleport and avoid this strike. Sadly, he was much slower than Shiryu and couldn't even see Shiryu's trail clearly. Since he wasn't able to predict Shiryu's abrupt attack, he couldn't construct the gravitational field in advance. And now it was too late. He knew it was not clever to shun. Endure it. Oh, you. Shiryu bellowed and triggered all the negative energy in his body. He operated the seal of life and death at once. Bang, 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 bang. The seal of life and seal of death occurred from his palms and connected. The seal of life and death was formed. 7 handprints flew out and struck toward Shiryu. Its power was stronger than that of a disaster realm warrior exploding. Shiryu realized how powerful the energy in the seal was, and without any hesitance, he froze the energy in his body. A yellow light pillar shot out from his chest, which was dazzling in everybody's eyes. The thick yellow light pillar struck on the seal of life and death, and the clashing power grounded all of the black stones in that area. In the small stones, Shiryu's body flew out again, and then fell on the ground after moving an arc in the air. Shiryu's chest was bleeding heavily, and his face had turned pale. As for Shiryu, although he hadn't fallen down, his body was shaking greatly. His light pillar was so strong that even a warrior of the second sky of Earth Realm couldn't endure it. Although he was covered by blood, Shiryu shook and stood up again. He was still alive. "Stop!" He-Chi-Man yelled. "Shiryu, what the hell are you doing? You know it had nothing to do with him. What do you want? Don't you know he is from the Yang family?" Shiryu's face changed slightly. Xing Idan was shocked too as he looked at He-Chi-Man. He is from the Yang family. He was a lost child of the Yang family, and he came to the Endless Sea to see his family. At that moment, He-Chi-Man couldn't hide Shiryu's identity. If he is hurt, the Yang family wouldn't spare us. "Shiryu, stop attacking him." "Humph. Here are all our people, so we can tell them he was killed by the demon dwellers. Even Sister Nan, a Nirvana Realm warrior, was killed by them, not to mention a Disaster Realm warrior." Shiryu was literally insane. Regardless of He-Chi-Man's persuasion, he assaulted Shiryu harder. Shiryu flew to Shiryu again. "Bastard, I must kill you, even if you are a Yang family member. No one would revenge you if you died on this island." "Shiryu," He-Chi-Man yelled in anger. "Stop it now." Shiryu didn't listen to her. Instead, while she was yelling, he made up his mind to kill Shiryu. In the evil wonderland, everybody knew that Shiryu admired He-Chi-Man. He always tortured those who were close to He-Chi-Man. He even did that to his own people, let alone Shi Yan, who was an outsider. Especially, he was stricken by Shi Yan when in the cave. At that moment, he decided to kill Shi Yan. Seeing Shi Bai rushing up, Shi Yan's eyes turned cold as he continued to refine the seal of life and death. Boom! Shi Yan flew back, and his chest bones were all broken. Pooh! Unexpectedly, Shi Bai spurted mouthful of blood as well. Shi Bai couldn't endure the power of the seal of death and life too. Shi Bai quivered. He Chi Man and Xing Yidan were dumbstruck as they looked at Shi Yan in unbelievable eyes. Shi Yan was so tough. Under Shi Bai's concessive strikes, he survived. Furthermore, his body was still stable while Shi Bai began to spit blood. Their close performance baffled He Chi Man and Sheng Yidan. Kid, it's not surprising that you are from the Yang family. You are something. Shi Bai stared at Shi Yan in hatred. If I don't kill you today, you will kill me someday. Thus I have to kill you now at all cost. Shi Bai, don't blame me if you continue. He Chi Man finally shouted and flew toward Shi Bai. He Chi Man flew over and set her beautiful feet on the ground. When she wanted to fly again, she felt her feet were dragged by something. He Chi Man couldn't make a move. Her expression changed. He Chi Man looked around. Brother, what are you doing? Everybody was puzzled and began to look around. He Chi Man never called anyone brother, but one person. Xia Kuei. Brother, when did you come? Sheng Yidan was joyful. Not for long. I heard that Sister Nan died because of this guy, so I think he should die. A gloomy voice came from down the earth. The mysterious guy seemed to be under the ground. And the evil Wonderland warriors got relieved when they heard Xia Kuei came. Brother is reasonable. Shi Bai laughed and swaggered toward Shi Yan. Let me see how long can you sustain. Longer than you. A heroic voice came from the sky, and a double-headed dragon appeared among the clouds. A huge silver sword flew across the sky and dashed in this direction. Among the silver light, the silver sword fell down and struck Shi Bai into flesh paste. The huge silver sword killed Shi Bai at once, then struck into the earth 3 meters left to He Chi Man. The mountains and the earth shook at the same time. A slim young man in white appeared from the earth with a rigid face. There's some blood beside his mouth as he looked at the double-headed dragon. Xiao Yan, welcome to the Kiara Sea. A strong man on the double-headed dragon showed a broad smile to Shi Yan after he killed Shi Bai. You are? Shi Yan was confused. I'm your elder brother, Yang Mu. The strong young man laughed and then looked to the evil Wonderland warriors proudly. In the Kiara Sea, us Yang family is the master. This is our place. Whoever goes against the Yang family must die. Translated by Wai. Chapter 202. Destroy the Mountain. Chapter 202. Destroy the Mountain. On the mountain top, the evil Wonderland warriors looked pale, while Xia Kuei popped up from the earth and looked at Yang Mu coldly. How dare you kill him? Why not? Yang Mu laughed, jumping off from the double-headed dragon and standing beside Shi Yan, and smiled to Shi Yan. You okay? I'm fine. Shi Yan shook his head with a smile. The third stage? Yang Mu was surprised as his eyes wandered on Shi Yan's chest. The wound on Shi Yan's chest was recovering slowly but at a visible speed. Yeah. Shi Yan nodded. The disaster realm? Yang Mu didn't look at Xia Kuei, but mumbled to himself, it's unreasonable. Since he has the immortal martial spirit, Yang Mu knew it well. Generally, one needed to advance to the Earth realm to get to the third stage of the immortal martial spirit. Shi Yan was merely at the disaster realm, but his immortal martial spirit had already reached the third stage, which was rather abnormal. Yes, I'm at the second sky of disaster realm. Shi Yan nodded again. Yang Mu showed even more surprise in his eyes. Those evil Wonderland warriors, including Xia Kuei and He Chi Man, looked not at ease after Yang Mu showed up. Sheng Yidan gazed at Shi Yan's chest and then showed a little bitterness. Shi Yan's chest showed that he had the immortal martial spirit, so she knew now they had been all wrong. Shi Yan was a direct offspring of the Yang family. Shi Bai was killed by Yang Mu, but the evil Wonderland warriors didn't dare to do anything although they were angry. You killed our people, I will tell it to the family head. We won't spare you. Siakue looked gloomy as he wiped the blood on his mouth corner. At this crucial moment, you killed your ally. I don't think you still need our help. Yangmu sneered and shook his head. Just tell your family head. Let's see what will you do to us? You don't rule the evil wonderland. If you leave the demon dwellers alone, you can expect more of them. Let's see how well your evil wonderland fares. Siakue's expression changed slightly. The demon dwellers had entered the Kiara Sea. Although they hated the Yang family most, it's tough for them to shake the Yang family. On the contrary, the evil wonderland and the Xia family were the target of the demon dwellers because they were weaker. Even if the evil wonderland and the Xia family didn't attack the demon dwellers, the latter would still cause trouble with them. Yangmu smiled, took out a green pill, and handed it to Shiryen. How are you now? Shiryen took the pill and swallowed it at once. He soon felt a warm sensation in his belly. The pill was mildly taking effect on his chest. This pill sped up the recovering of the wound as its power entangled the wound like slim strings. There are dozens of the demon dwellers on the Black Stone Island, including several experts at the second sky of Nirvana Realm. We entered the quarry and met the demon dwellers, Shiryen explained briefly. Demon dwellers of the second sky of the Nirvana Realm? Yangmu was a little surprised, as he nodded, his expression turning heavy. It seems to be tough now. It's out of expectation that Nirvana Realm demon dwellers appeared on this small island. They have made up their mind. Chi man, you mean the Nirvana Realm demon dwellers were found by him? Siakue was listening to He Qingman's explanation, causing him to frown. He Qingman nodded slowly and explained in a low voice. He has a certain treasure that helps him to detect the demon dwellers. He was the first to find the demon dwellers in the cave. It's just that we didn't pay attention to it. Sister Nan. Sister Nan. He Qingman's voice shook again. The demon dwellers were first found by you? Yang Mu's hearing was great. He glanced at Shiryen in surprise. After seeing Shiryen nodded, Yang Mu laughed and praised, you are something. Haha. No wonder Great-Grandpa said you are extraordinary. This time I came because Great-Grandpa sent me here to take you back. Shiryen beamed, just with the help of a treasure. The Great-Grandpa was the head of the Yang family, King Yangqing. He Qingman didn't show any surprise, but Siakue and Sheng Yidan's expression changed. Especially for Sheng Yidan, he regretted a lot for not having noticed that Shiryen was special. Whoever drew King Yangqing's attention must be something and would probably be an expert in the Endless Sea. If they knew of this earlier, they would have listened to Shiryen and avoided the battle with the demon dwellers. Xiaoyan, let's go. After killing the demon dwellers, we will go back to the Immortal Island at once. You came from so far away. It's time for you to go home. Yangmu whistled, and then the double-headed dragon landed on the mountain top. Yangmu mounted to the double-headed dragon and then waved at Shiryen. Let's go. Though confused, Shiryen mounted the double-headed dragon and observed the double-headed dragon as his eyes sparkled. The double-headed dragon was 7 meters long, containing the power of ice and flame in its 2 heads. The back of the dragon was as hard as iron, and its claws were sharp. The level 6 demon beast, the double-headed dragon, had 2 heads and can spurt ice and flame. It's one of the most able demon beasts in the Yang family. Before Shiryen came to the Endless Sea, Xiaohani had told him that he could get a double-headed dragon if he was acknowledged by the family head. Shiryen remembered it, so when he saw the real double-headed dragon, he was excited. Haha, stop looking at it. You will have your own mount. Yangmu laughed. Great-Grandpa had chosen a grumpy demon beast to test you. Prove that you can tame it. Not the double-headed dragon? Shiryen was surprised. No, it's more frightening than the double-headed dragon. Hee, and Great-Grandpa wants to test you with that demon beast. Xiaoyan, be prepared, and don't be frightened by it. Not the double-headed dragon? Then what demon beast is that? I will leave it for you to find it out yourself. As they chatted, they mounted the double-headed dragon, while Siakue, He Qingman, and others looked at them, frowning with strange expressions. There are Nirvana Realm demon dwellers in the cave? Siakue asked Sheng Yidan. Of course. Sheng Yidan nodded. That's why Sister Nan was killed. Siakue nodded slightly and sneered. Let me see how will Yangmu kill the demon dwellers. Yeah. He-Chi-Man was confused too. Yang Mu is able, but he's merely at the third sky of Earth Realm, so he can't win against those Nirvana Realm demon dwellers. Let's go. Yang Mu laughed, urged the double-headed dragon, and flew to the quarry Shuryen pointed at. Be brother. Shuryen was not used to calling someone brother. Those demon dwellers are at the Nirvana Realm. Can you really deal with it? Don't worry. Yang Mu looked calm. I will show you the sky bomb of the Yang family. I have 2 sky bombs. To kill the Nirvana Realm demon dwellers with one of it is not a waste. The sky bomb? Shuryen knew Yang Mu was doing it for no reason. Soon, sitting on the double-headed dragon, Shuryen and Yang Mu arrived above the quarry. Detect whether the demon dwellers are inside. Yang Mu stood up on the double-headed dragon and then looked down at the quarry below him. Shuryen slowly nodded, took out the soul-gathering pearl, and began to percept. A heavy smell of hatred came from deep within the quarry, and spirit waves approached as Shuryen was searching. Shuryen's expression changed as he withdrew the spirit power from the soul-gathering pearl. It's still here. Then good. Yang Mu laughed as his ring shone once, and then a fist-like golden ball appeared in his palm. Under Yang Mu's control, that golden ball became golden light and struck the quarry. Bang, bang, bang. The power of a blast came from the quarry. The sky bomb blast was so strong that it almost cracked the sky. Meanwhile, golden waves rippled in the sky. Then, just in front of Shuryen, the quarry exploded into ashes. Among the golden light, the quarry crashed and was destroyed by the sky bomb in an instant. Translated by Y. Chapter 203 Arrival. Chapter 203 Arrival. The quarry where the Black Scale Tribe demon dwellers hid at was straight up blown to the ground by one sky bomb. Even the earth began to deeply sink in. Shuryen sat on the body of the double-headed dragon. He was stunned as he was shocked by the frightening exploding power of the sky bomb. One sky bomb destroyed an entire mountain. Such power was truly unheard of. At this moment, he got a deeper understanding of the Yang family's background. All right, let's go. Yang Mu looked below for a moment, clapped his hands, and said leisurely, unless there is a strong sky realm demon dweller, no one can escape from the sky bomb. Shuryen stroked the soul-gathering pearl and then spread out his mind power to probe around. Indeed, he could no longer sense a single trace of soul fluctuation. All the Black Scale Tribe demons in the quarry should have been crushed by this one blow. No more traces of life came from the quarry. While nodding, Shuryen smiled. This is quite a big movement. Haha, that's how the sky bomb is. Forging one sky bomb requires more than 70 precious materials. Many of these materials also come from the demon area, and only us, the Yang family, can obtain those precious materials because we often wage war in the demon area. Even if we told the forging method of the sky bomb to other families, they won't be able to gather all of the materials to make it. Yang Mu said proudly. We're returning to Immortal Island now? Shuryen pondered for a moment, and then asked, Last time, I heard a Shura blood guard say that a gate of heaven from the Immortal Island region was at the peak of battling. How is the situation now? Still fighting, but the aggressiveness of the attacks from the demon dwellers has lessened. They probably also cannot afford the losses. Yang Mu's expression suddenly darkened. This time, the actions of the demon dwellers were indeed very strange. They risked their lives to come through the nodes in space and to spread throughout every corner of the Kiara Sea. I wonder what their true intentions are. How is Xiaoxinyan? Shuryen hesitated for a moment and then asked. Yang Mu's eyes flickered for a second, then he smiled wryly and said, The reason why I came to find you is also because of her. The master of the Xia family brought Xiaoxinyan to Immortal Island, asking our Yang family to take responsibility. This thing is really hard to deal with. Back in the day, this situation happened to someone from the Xia family. It's almost unsolvable. No methods can be found at all. But Uncle Emo said you have a way. I don't know if it's true or not, but Great-Grandpa seems to value you quite a lot. Since I was doing business around this area, I got his message telling me to escort you back to Immortal Island as soon as possible. Pausing for a moment, Yang Mu looked at Shuryen with a strange expression. Do you really have a way to solve Xia Xinyan's problem? Yes. Shiyan nodded. Yang Mu's eyes brightened. Haha, if it's really like that, then there should be no problem. What you don't know is that girl Xia Xinyan is the treasure of the Xia family. She got into that kind of situation to save you, causing all of the Xia family members to become furious. They came straight to the Immortal Island to cause trouble, forcing great-grandpa to give an explanation. Don't worry, I'm sure I can awake her. All right. Yang Mu didn't continue asking for details. He rode the double-headed dragon and made it speed up. The double-headed dragon was like an arrow that escaped its bow, shooting through the clouds above the Black Stone Island and moving into the distance. On the Black Stone Island, Xiakue, He-Chi-Man, and the rest stood above the mountain. From the distance, they looked at the quarry that was now blown to the ground. Their expressions were inexplicably shocked. The sky bomb! Xiakue took in a deep breath. Yang Mu used a single sky bomb and straight up destroyed that entire mountain. This is the end of this mission. Under the frightening power of the sky bomb, even a Nirvana realm demon dweller wouldn't be able to survive. Yang Mu is sure willing to sacrifice a lot. He even brought out the sky bomb. He-Chi-Man's face was sullen as she sighed and said, "Our losses are so big this time." Yang Mu, Shiyan, Xiakue's expression was dark and cold. He murmured under his breath, "I'll remember you too." He-Chi-Man glimpsed at Xiakue and felt even more worried inside. She knew Xiakue's personality. She knew that Xiakue was the favored child of the evil Wonderland and that he was unusually malicious. Once he starts hating someone, he would never let it go easily. We should leave too. Shin Edan put up a mournful face and stopped looking towards the sky. She blamed herself. If we knew earlier that Shiyan's background was this big, then we would have definitely valued his words more. We wouldn't have had such great losses. Ai. Let's go. Xiakue snorted coldly. His eyes were cold. When did you arrive at Blackstone Island? On the double-headed dragon, Shiyan asked casually. The appearances of Yang Mu and Xiakue were both very sudden. There was no warning or sign, they just all suddenly appeared. This made Shiyan very confused. I came earlier than Xiakue did. Yang Mu smilingly explained. After I arrived above Blackstone Island, I didn't know which was you at first. Then when I noticed you and you by dueling, I finally knew you from their conversations. At that time I was going to get involved immediately, but I also wanted to see your capabilities. Thus, I just hid in the clouds and watched. You only came over after Xiakue? When Xiakue arrived at Blackstone Island, he didn't appear immediately. Instead, he used his martial spirit to hide underground. After you and Yubai dueled for a while, he finally sneaked towards you from underground. When I noticed his tracks, I already started to secretly prepare to intervene at any time. Yang Mu smilingly explained for a while, and then laughed, but boy, you are quite amazing. That Yubai is a whole realm higher than you, but he couldn't kill you with all of his strength. Up above, I was originally going to intervene immediately, but seeing that you were safe and sound, but out of curiosity I just continued watching. I wanted to see how long you could hold up for. If it weren't for Xiakue who couldn't help but intervene, I might have waited for even longer until that Yubai attacked you once more, to see if you could have still held up. Shiyan smiled wryly. I probably wouldn't be able to continue holding up. It's hard to say. Yang Mu revealed a thoughtful smile. You think I wouldn't know that there are still unused powers inside your body? I've long heard that inside your body, there is still the star martial spirit of the Three God sect. Although you can't use that star martial spirit against your enemy, but in crucial moments, it would still have no problem taking a fatal blow for you. The star martial spirit. Shiyan dazed. If Yang Mu hadn't mentioned it, he almost forgot that inside his body, there still existed the star martial spirit. He quietly sensed for a moment. He realized that the star martial spirit still continued to endlessly absorb star power and had never stopped. At his heart, there were spots of glittering starlight. They seemed to already have absorbed quite a lot of star power. The strength of that star power seemed to be just as vigorous as his profound chi at the moment. Unfortunately, this extra power was still difficult for him to use. Dude, you are really something different. Our Yang family has fought with the Three Gods sect for hundreds of years, but you were able to obtain the Star Martial Spirit. Hehe, if the Sun God of the Three Gods sect knew that the Star Martial Spirit of the last Star God fell upon you, I wonder what he would be thinking. Yang Mu exclaimed. Oh right, you said great-grandpa prepared a demon beast for me. What exactly is that demon beast? Shi Yan was more curious about this thing. Hehe, I'm not telling you. Yang Mu purposely hid the information. What level is it? You'll know when you see it. Is it as strong as your level 6 double-headed dragon? Stronger than mine. However, you have to be able to tame it. Yang Mu was bothered too much and revealed some information in frustration. That thing isn't from our dimension. It comes from the demon area. It's a strange hybrid that has the ability to continuously evolve. Shi Yan's eyes brightened. Don't get happy too soon. I don't think you can tame it. Yang Mu's expression was strange. He shook his head and said, I don't know what great-grandpa is thinking. How can he leave that thing for you to tame? You're only in the disaster realm. Maybe with just one encounter, you will be killed by that thing. Big brother, we're already returning to the Immortal Island, and I'm still not familiar with the important figures in the Yang family. Shouldn't you introduce them to me a little? All right, I'll roughly explain it to you and tell you about the people you definitely have to know. In the Yang family, there were 4 generations of people in total at the moment. Yang Qingdi was the head of the family as the first generation. Below Yang Qingdi, there were 3 sons, separately known as Yang Feng, Yang Xiao, and Yang Lao. This was the second generation of the Yang family. Among them, Yang Xiao was the father of Yang Hai. Nominally, he was also the grandfather of Shi Yan. 50 years ago, he died in battle in the 4th demon area. Yang Feng and Yang Lao each had 2 sons. They were Yang Zhua, Yang Miao, Yang Xiao, and Yang Qi. This was the 3rd generation of the Yang family. Under Yang Zhua, there was Yang Mu and Yang Zhou. Yang Miao had 1 daughter, Yang Shui. Yang Shou had 1 son, Yang Ko. Finally, Yang Qi had 1 daughter, Yang Ming. The 5 people, Yang Mu, Yang Zhou, Yang Shui, Yang Ko, and Yang Ming, were the 4th generation of the Yang family. Of course, in the direct descendants of the Yang family, there wasn't only these people. However, the rest of them, because they didn't have the Yang family's immortal martial spirit inside their bodies, they weren't included into this category. The first generation, Yang Qingdi, was in the spirit realm. Below him, the second generation's Yang Feng and Yang Lao were both in the sky realm. Even below that, the 3rd generation's Yang Zhua, Yang Miao, Yang Xiao, and Yang Qi were almost all in the nirvana realm. Then lastly, the 4th generation's Yang Mu, Yang Zhou, Yang Shui, Yang Ko, and Yang Ming were mostly in the earth and disaster realms. In the 4 generations of the Yang family, between each of the generations, they seemed to only be 1 realm apart. It was very strange. This also made Shi Yan very surprised. He couldn't help but ask further. However, before he could ask, he got his answer from Yang Mu. Before the earth realm, there are the elementary, nascent, human, and disaster realms. These realms belong to normal warrior families and can be a very long cultivation process. However, to our Yang family, these 4 realms are not hard to pass. The precious resources controlled by our Yang family can make the breakthrough of these 4 realms speed up by multiple times. As long as you have a determined will and outstanding talent, under the catalyzing of our family's precious treasures, you can quickly reach the 3rd sky of disaster realm in a matter of 10 years. However, starting from when you break through to the earth realm from the disaster realm, if you want to keep reaching higher, you can no longer just rely on pills and elixirs. At that time, the breakthrough of realms will slow down. Just breaking through a small realm might need more than 10 years of time. That is why in our generation, most can quickly step into the earth realm. But breakthroughs from that time on will become slower and slower. Is that so? Shi Yan quietly nodded. He seemed to be enlightened by the information. The 2 sat on top of the double-headed dragon and chatted the whole way. They went towards the Immortal Island at great speed. After more than 10 days, under the directions of Yang Mu, Shi Yan, who was sitting on top of the double-headed dragon, finally saw the legendary Immortal Island. Chapter 204, The Yang Family. Chapter 204, The Yang Family. In the lingering mists and clouds, a vast and enormous island silently floated in the middle of the pure blue sea. On the island stood many grand mountains that went straight through the clouds. Looking down from the top, it could be seen that there were blocks of spirit farming fields everywhere on the island where countless precious medicinal ingredients were planted. Many rare and strange demon beasts and spirit beasts were domesticated and spread around all corners of the island. Vigorous spirit energy continuously circulated on the island like streams of flowing water. The natural energies here were extremely filling. Before landing on the island, even just sucking in a breath of air gave off a refreshing feeling and made people relax all over. The island was extremely big. It might have been several times the size of the entire Merchant Union. It was not so much an island, but more like an entire piece of mainland. Sitting on top of the double-headed dragon, Shuryen looked into the distance and actually couldn't see the end. In his view, all he saw were endless mountains. On top of each mountain, there seemed to be the shadows of people. This is Immortal Island. Yangmu smiled, and then pointed at an area overflowing with demon energy behind him as he explained to Shuryen, "Over there is a gate of heaven leading to the fourth demon area. Our battles with the demon dwellers also happen in that area. Usually, even in the areas around the Immortal Island, there can possibly be demon dwellers wandering about. Recently, the demon dwellers have encountered quite a lot of losses too. They temporarily ceased fire, thus they didn't continue to make trouble." Shuryen was surprised. He looked towards the direction Yangmu was pointing at. He could only see that in that area, there were overflowing amounts of demon energy fluctuating. The vigorous demon energy covered that place completely. Shuryen looked closely and then realized that he could see nothing at all. That place is temporarily covered by demon energy. Don't waste your time to look through it because you won't see anything. Yangmu smiled. Indeed, I can't see anything. While nodding, Shuryen frowned. In that area, are there still people stationed? Although he couldn't see the situation there, Shuryen could still vaguely sense that there were extremely fierce energy fluctuations. Based on his senses, there must have been countless numbers of strong warriors there, and there were definitely some top warriors from the Yang family hiding in there. Of course, Uncle Mo and the rest are all guarding that area. Yangmu's expression was slightly serious. "I received some news a while back saying that Great-Grandpa went into the demon area again." Reportedly, Great-Grandpa entered into the demon area this time to talk directly with the Demon King Busun. Talking directly with the Demon King? Shuryen was shocked. Legend has it that the Demon King Busun was in the third sky of Spirit Realm. He had already got 1 foot in the true God realm. From Shuryen's understanding about the demon dwellers, he knew that demon dwellers of the same realm were much stronger than humans. Although Yang Qingdi's reputation was widely known in the Endless Sea, he was still, after all, only in the first sky of Spirit Realm. If he were to really go face-to-face with the Demon King Busun, wouldn't it be extremely dangerous and risky? Great-Grandpa is only in the first sky of Spirit Realm, but he had all sorts of mysterious powers on him. If he dares to encounter the Demon King Busun, then he naturally has a full grasp on things. Yangmu smiled proudly. 50 years ago, when Great-Grandpa was only in the third sky of Sky Realm, he was already able to skip realms and kill a demon master who was under the command of the Demon King. That Demon King was in the first sky of Spirit Realm at the time. Now that Great-Grandpa stepped into the Spirit Realm, his magical powers are even more far-reaching. Plus, the Demon King Busun is not in his best condition. If Great-Grandpa were to really encounter him, it shouldn't be hard for Great-Grandpa come out unharmed. The Demon King Busun is not in his best condition? Shuryen dazed for a moment, dumbfounded. Reportedly, 100 years ago, Busun got into some trouble when cultivating a demon skill, so he has been recovering in the Cave of Thousand Demons. In the past many years, he has only been using his 3 skeletal avatars to move outside. His true form had never left the Cave of Thousand Demons. This time, the reason why Great-Grandpa went in the demon area should be for Uncle Shao. I wonder if he can bring Uncle Shao out alive. Once he heard Yang Mu mention Xiaohani, Shi Yan's face immediately became sullen. He sighed inwardly out of frustration. Don't be too sad about the thing with Uncle Xiao. Even if you weren't there, that Bo-sun still would have went for Uncle Xiao sooner or later. Last time in the demon area, Uncle Xiao heavily wounded the youngest son of Bo-sun. At that time Bo-sun had spoken out, saying that he would teach Uncle Xiao a lesson. Even if Uncle Xiao wasn't with you that time, he would still be attacked by Bo-sun. Yang Mu comforted him. As the two talked, but the double-headed dragon did not rest. It kept flying above the immortal island. Below them were mountains that stood right up into the clouds with overflowing amounts of spirit energy and tens of thousands of spirit farming fields beside them. Demon beasts were cultivated in many different areas. Many nascent and human realm warriors rode all different types of demon beasts on the island, either flying in the air or sprinting on the ground. They were all extremely lively and full of energy. On the immortal island, there are now nearly 10,000 warriors. However, many warriors are in the nascent, human, and disaster realms. There are not many warriors above the Earth realm, only about 1,000 of them. The warriors here do not represent all of our Yang family's forces. Our Yang family controls hundreds of islands. On those islands, there are also strong warriors from our family there. When they arrived on Immortal Island, Yang Mu started to explain to Shi Yan about the situation on the island again. He detailedly explained the current situation on the Immortal Island. The Immortal Island was the holy land of the Kiara Sea, the headquarters of the Yang family. In the entire Endless Sea, the Immortal Island was considered as a holy land for cultivation. The spirit energy on the island was vigorous. No matter what type of spirit medicinal plant was planted, it would be very easy for them to grow. Because of the vigorous spirit energy, any warrior that cultivated here would need much less effort to succeed. The profound Qi gathering speed here was much faster than in other places. The double-headed dragon entered into the Immortal Island, flew for another half a day, and then finally landed in an area with the most concentrated spirit energy. Look down. That valley is the root of our Yang family. Yang Mu suddenly shouted lightly. Shi Yan's expression shook as he lowered his head and looked closely. In 9 grand enormous mountains, there was an open flat field. On the flat field, there stood many majestic palaces. Those palaces were all built with different enormous solid green iron stones, white jade stones, and fire gold stones. Under the sun, those rare stones gleamed and gave off bright lights. Glancing towards them, the palaces below seemed to be covered in rainbow godly lights, making them look like a land of immortal beings. Look closely at those 9 mountains. Yang Mu reminded. Shi Yan dazed. He then looked towards a several thousand zhang tall mountain. His eyes were focused. This enormous mountain was wide and magnificent. The mountain was covered with all sorts of mysterious medicinal herbs. Under Shi Yan's view, he could clearly see the stream-like flows of spirit energy. They seemed to be attracted by the enormous mountain and actually gathered towards here from all directions of the Immortal Island while silently flowing into this mountain, as if they were supplying nutrients for the mountain. His eyes shifted, and he then shockingly realized that it was the same for the other 8 mountains. The lingering spirit energy on the Immortal Island seemed to be attracted by these 9 mountains. They gathered towards here endlessly, and then flowed into these mountains, nourishing these mountains. Many caves appeared on the sides of the 9 mountains. From inside those caves, there were occasionally a few figures that appeared. They seemed to be cultivating heavily inside the caves. After they came out, they seemed like they haven't adjusted to the sunlight, for they all squinted their eyes and quietly frowned. These 9 mountains can be said as the most precious place in our family. At the heart of the mountains, there are many magical things. The reason why our Yang family can be so mighty for so long is closely tied to these 9 mountains. Yang Mu pointed out. Because of the spirit herbs on the mountain? Shi Yan was surprised. Not only the spirit herbs. Yang Mu smiled. You will know why very soon. I think later, you will enter into one of the mountains. You need to awaken Xiaoxinyan first, and then naturally you will need to find a quiet cultivation spot. I can promise that in the entire Endless Sea, there won't be many places with a better cultivation environment than our place here. Shuryen was perplexed, but he didn't ask much. Let's go down and see our second grandpa. I think during this time, second grandpa must have been so annoyed by Xia Shinchuan from the Xia family that he's going to lose his patience soon. Yang Mu laughed as he rode the double-headed dragon and flew straight down towards that grand palace below. On the way, Shuryen already knew that Yang Qingdi went to the demon area. His oldest son Yang Feng was not guarding at the entrance to the gate of heaven. On the Immortal Island, the current person in charge was the second son Yang Lao, also nominally counted as the second grandpa of Shuryen. Although Xia Shinchuan from the Xia family was the current head of the Xia family, he was not in the same generation as Yang Qingdi. Instead, he was from the generation of Yang Feng and Yang Lao and was only in the second sky of the Sky Realm. The previous head of the Xia family was also in the first sky of Spirit Realm, but he encountered trouble with the reincarnation martial spirit and was often in the state of soul chaos and deliriousness. Because of that, the last head of the Xia family had passed the spot of the head of the family to Xia Shinchuan early. He put all of his heart into cultivation in an attempt to solve his occasional deliriousness. Xia Shinchuan was the grandpa of Xia Xinyan. He had always treated Xia Xinyan like she was his most precious treasure. When he picked up Xia Xinyan from Firecloud Island and was certain that Xia Xinyan's soul injuries were exactly the same as that person from back in the day, he was immediately enraged and directly brought Xia Xinyan to Immortal Island, determined to get an explanation from the Yang family. At the time, after Yang Qingdi asked Mo Duanhuan for details, he knew from Mo Duanhuan that Shuryen had a way to save Xia Xinyan. Thus he let Xia Shinchuan stay on Immortal Island and wait for Shuryen to come and fix this trouble. Although Xia Shinchuan was unsatisfied, but he couldn't talk back to Yang Qingdi, so he could only wait on the island like what Yang Qingdi told him. Just like that, he waited for more than 4 months. Hello, young Master Mu. Hello, young Master Mu. On Yang Mu's way, many warriors all respectfully nodded in greeting. None of these warriors were in low realms, most were in the disaster or earth realms. Their presences were vigorous and seemed to be much stronger than other warriors of the same realms. Shuryen followed behind Yang Mu and stayed silent. He only quietly released his consciousness to sense around and felt awed on the inside. The warriors that appeared here, considered under the same realm, they were all much stronger than other warriors out there. The spirits in their bodies were extremely outstanding, and their life forces were very vigorous. Even the meridians and flesh of their bodies were extraordinarily sturdy. Their profound qi was also more refined and vigorous. Shuryen believed that any of the human realm first sky warriors here would be much stronger than a warrior of the same realm in the Merchant Union. In a fight with people of the same realms, a person here could fight against 2 people out there. The more he observed, the more Shuryen was stunned. He became more and more expectant to see the capabilities of the Yang family. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 205, The Yang Family's Challenge. Chapter 205, The Yang Family's Challenge. In the Yang family, next to a cold, deep pool, Shuryen and Yang Mu stood quietly in the corner and watched a delicate little figure inside the deep pool. It was a 15 or 16-year-old little girl. Her big eyes were unusually lively. She had long eyelashes and straight little nose, looking very cute and lovable. At the moment, her delicate body sank inside the pool. She frowned as her limbs kept shaking around. In the clear pool water, with the movement of her limbs, 4 millstone-sized metal blocks raised enormous waves in the pool water. They made the pool water choppy with waves, and the movements were extremely big. Shuryen's face was filled with surprise. He stared at her wrists and ankles and realized that there were shackles locked onto there. The shackles were connected to the 4 millstone-sized metal blocks. The little girl floated and sank in the water pool. She struggled to stay afloat, and her entire body was drenched. Young Meng is cultivating the Sky Phoenix formula. This is a type of spirit-level martial skill. While cultivating, her limbs have to be attached with 4,000 gene metals and stay afloat in the water pool at the same time. Yangmu stood next to Shuryen and explained quietly, the Sky Phoenix formula is an extremely magical martial skill, where once you succeed in cultivating it, you can form profound chi wings behind your back. Like the wings of a phoenix, they can directly make her suspend thousands of feet up in the air while being in the Earth realm. Shuryen was stunned. Usually, only Sky Realm Masters could suspend in midair and had the power to take flight. This girl was only in the first sky of the Earth realm. She still had quite a long journey to the Sky realm where she would be able to float in the air. However, if she can achieve the magical effect of suspending in midair through the cultivation of the Sky Phoenix formula, then she would be able to take all the advantages of flight when battling with people. A martial skill that was able to make a Earth Realm warrior obtain the flying ability of a Sky Realm Master, such a martial skill, could truly be called mysteriously magical. Inside the deep pool, Yang Meng clenched her teeth, her feet and legs kept kicking the pool water. Her body bobbed up and down, but never sank in the water pool. Her body was attacked with 4 heavy objects weighing 1,000 gene, yet she could still keep her body from sinking in the water. This girl's performance made Shuryen secretly shocked. With 4,000 gene of heavy objects on one's body, usually a normal person wouldn't even be able to move. In the water, one would almost instantly sink into the bottom of the water and never would have a chance of resurfacing. This girl used some unknown secret method, and every time she kicked and paddled in the pool water, there was a wave of shocking energy that shot out. It formed into a special pushing force, making her delicate body shoot fiercely up to the surface of the pool for a while. When she continued to sink back down, she would stir the power again and continue to force herself to the surface of the pool again and again. In our generation, Yang Meng is the youngest. She is our little sister. This girl doesn't have much cunningness in her, but she is a delight to us all. Yangmu had a coddling smile on his lips. We all like to spoil her a lot. She also never lets us down. This year she just turned 16, and she is already in the first sky of Earth Realm. 16 years old, in the first sky of Earth Realm. Shuryen kept smiling bitterly. He somewhat got a deeper insight on these freaks from the Yang family. Xia Xinyan was the outstanding talent of the new generation of the Xia family. This year, she was already 26 years old, but she was still in the first sky of Earth Realm. That He-Ching man was a talent in which the evil Wonderland put much focus into training her. She was 24 years old, and now was also only in the first sky of the Earth Realm. In comparison, Shuryen slowly started to realize why the Yang family was the true master in the Kiara Sea. In the Merchant Union, Bai Mingsu could be counted as the most outstanding young talent. He was almost 30 years old, but still was only in the disaster realm. Compared with Yang Meng here, the so-called God-blessed talent Bai Mingsu was not even worth mentioning. Boom, boom, boom. Yang Meng suddenly exerted her strength and tried to fly in the water pool. At her back, bright light was forming. Wings that were formed by pure profound qi quickly formed at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. In a mere moment, behind Yang Meng's back, profound qi wings appeared. She controlled the wings and forcefully flapped them. Slowly floating to the surface of the pool water, her delicate little body soon got out of the surface of the water. Plop. Just when she flew about 3 meters away from the pool surface, Yang Meng's face suddenly flashed with panic. Her power seemed to have ran out, and she fell straight into the pool. All right, this is the end of the cultivation today. On the side of the pool, Yang Lao frowned and shouted. His big hand grabbed in the air and directly lifted Yang Meng out of the water pool. Crack! Crack! Once Yang Meng dropped to the ground, the shackles on her limbs automatically came off. She dejectedly sat on the floor and said faintly, "Come on, why does it still not work? I was so close, why can I never step past this point?" Yang Lao let out a chuckle. He shook his head and said, "You little girl, you're sure greedy. You only cultivated for 1.5 years, and you already want to finish cultivating the Sky Phoenix formula. Is there such an easy thing in the world? Grandpa, didn't you say that with my talent, I can successfully cultivate it really fast? Yang Ming snorted and pouted her lips. Liar. You said I would be able to fly really soon. If after a little more time I still can't fly, then I won't cultivate this anymore. It's so much trouble. Yang Lao's face looked like there was nothing he could do. Ming, just cultivate this for half a year more, and I promise that you will be able to fly. Believe in your big brother. I am definitely more accurate than second grandpa. He's old. It's normal that he can misjudge things. At this moment Yang Mu finally brought Shiryan and walked this way. He laughed out loud. You brat. Yang Lao threw a glare at Yang Mu. He was just about to curse out, but suddenly froze. He looked deeply at Shiryan and said, Boy, you should be Shiryan. Shiryan smilingly nodded. Shiryan! Yang Ming suddenly jumped and stood up. She giggled softly. Huh, you're only in the disaster realm. You're not even as good as me. Now I'm not the worst one, haha. In the Yang family, because Yang Meng was the youngest, her level of cultivation was the weakest, and only in the first sky of Earth realm. Every time she would be mocked by Yang Mu and the rest. Now that she suddenly discovered that Shiryan was only in the disaster realm, she immediately felt more balanced inside. She clapped her hands together and smiled happily, pointing at Shiryan said, Hee hee, you're not even as strong as I am. Let's fight in the future. Don't worry, I'll hold back on you. The children of the Yang family don't just cultivate endlessly. They often clashed together and motivated each other, using real-life fighting to gain experience. Because of the existence of the immortal martial spirit, the fights between Yang family children would not stop at a certain point. They often had situations where there was blood spilling. Yang Meng was the weakest. In these years, every time she fought with Yang Mu and the others, she never got hurt because they would hold back. However, she had never won either. She had long heard the news about Shiryan's arrival. Now that she saw Shiryan was here, and only in the disaster realm, she immediately had the idea of getting some satisfaction through Shiryan, and she immediately got happy. The look in Yang Lao's eyes was deep. He stared at Shiryan for a moment, then lightly nodded and smiled. I heard that you are pretty good. Come, let me see how good you are. Shiryan was stunned. Very easy. Yang Lao chuckled maliciously, for beams of bright light suddenly flew out of his palm. Those 4 beams of light abruptly sank into those 4 shackles, put on those shackles, and run around the pool 5 times. Haha, the second sky of disaster realm, close enough, close enough. The shackles that came off of Yang Meng suddenly flew up and went to wrap around Shiryan. Haha, little Yan, second grandpa is testing you. Don't make him disappointed. Yang Mu laughed and clapped. I believe you definitely can pass. Second grandpa, if little Yan can run 5 laps, what prize do you have for him? Prize? The smile on Yang Lao's lips didn't change. He nodded. Of course there is a prize. If he runs 5 full laps, I will call the shots and give him 3 nutrition pills. Haha, isn't this kid close with that girl from the Xia family? The nutrition pill sure has special effects for the reincarnation martial spirit of the Xia family. Shiryan's eyes suddenly brightened. He listened to Xia Xinyan talk about the nutrition pill before. This was an elixir that could recover profound qi in a short period of time. Every time Xia Xinyan used her reincarnation martial spirit, her body would be heavily damaged. In normal situations, she would need 1 to 2 months to recover. But if she had a nutrition pill, she would be able to recover overnight. If Xia Xinyan had 3 more nutrition pills in her hand, then she would be able to use the reincarnation martial spirit 3 more times, and would not worry about the counter damage. Thinking about that, Shiryan spread out his limbs and stood still. He cooperatively let those shackles lock onto his limbs, and his face was full of smiles. Didn't know that you were a lover boy. Yang Lao chuckled, but if you want my nutrition pills, it won't be that easy. Not only do you have to run 5 full laps, I'm also timing you. I'll give you 5 minutes. In 5 minutes you must finish. Then I'll give you the nutrition pills. If you drag this on to late at night, that doesn't count. 5 minutes. Yang Ming's cute eyes blinked. Grandpa, you're so naughty. It's so hard to get something from your hands. When I just stepped into the Earth realm, dragging these 4 big things, it still took me a minute to run 1 lap around the pool. He's only in the second sky of Disaster Realm. Your great-grandpa said it, this kid has excellent talents, his body is different from others. Yang Lao's eyes were gleaming with peculiar lights. He smiled. Your great-grandpa said, under the same realm, he is much stronger than you all. Hee, if your great-grandpa said that, then he has his reasons. I believe there has to be something different on this kid. I'll wait and see. Shi Yan was secretly surprised. Yang Qingdi had never met him, but he seemed to know everything about him. He even knew that his body was different from others. Could it be that Yang Qingdi really does know everything? Shi Yan became more and more curious about this great-grandpa that he had never met. He didn't know exactly how many magical powers he had, such that he could predict his well-being with just 3 drops of immortal blood. Little Yan, stop thinking about random things now. Prepare to use all the strength you've got. Yang Mu loves to see the world plunged into chaos. He laughed and said, remember, you only have 5 minutes. Don't hide your power, it's time to show it off. Kid, start. Yang Lao lightly shouted. Shi Yan hesitated no more, he roared, and abruptly stirred the negative energies. Chapter 206, I Bet. Chapter 206, I Bet. Sponsored by David Deitch. Dong 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 dong. 4 disc-like irons rolled over the edge of the pool like tanks. On the hard ground of the poolside, gravels were swirling. The irons grinded everything in their paths, leaving 4 long, deep ravines. With 2,000 kilograms heavy weights on his arms and ankles, Shi Yan's body shrank slightly, which suddenly bursted with an extreme explosion. The first sky of Rampage. Inside his meridians, negative energy boiled and filled his limbs, doubling his power at once. The 2,000 kilograms weight felt overwhelming when he dragged using his power, but it still couldn't top him from moving forward. As his strong body was running along the pond stirred with loud noise. Although he was merely at the second sky of Disaster Realm, his body was incomparably strong. The refined skill of the flame refined his body once again, so he could adapt to the impact of all sorts of energies and utilize his power better. As his body became much stronger using the first sky of Rampage, at that moment, the energy inside Shi Yan's body equaled to that of an Earth Realm warrior. Beside the pool, Yang Lao, Yang Mu, Yang Meng were all surprised, gazing at Shi Yan running with all effort. This increase of energy in Shi Yan's body was apparently out of their expectation. The 3, who were in doubt, were now in shock. It was very noisy here. So many young family warriors came from other areas hearing the noise as they watched Shi Yan's stunning power. Shi Yan had a rigid face. His strong muscles seemed to contain endless power. Every time he dashed out, he felt inexhaustible. After he came out from the volcano's core, this was the first time that he had bursted his power so smoothly. During his running, he felt every cell in his body come to life. This was a huge shift in his body. He clearly realized what benefit he got from that long period of ruthless training. After his body was refined, his ribs and bones became much stronger, his limbs more agile, and his profound chi flew faster like a river. Now he totally trusted the ice-cold flame. Warriors in ancient times emphasized more on their body training than warrior nowadays. To them, the body was the essential basis of martial arts. So they spent more time on body training than profound chi refining. Once the body reached a certain state, it delivered overwhelming power in battles. Among warriors at the same realm, those who possessed stronger body could easily beat those with weaker body. Feeling the changes in his body, Shi Yan was so delighted that he made up his mind to refine his body as the key of his martial training. Bang, bang, bang. Like a chariot, Shi Yan dashed forward and made a big stir in the pond, while gravels flew up in the sky. He was drowning in inner happiness and already forgot his bet with Yang Lao. He merely wanted to feel the changes in his body and explore himself. Stop! Yang Lao yelled. Shi Yan woke up abruptly and looked at Yang Lao numbly as his muscles was still shaking. Yang Lao's eyes shone with bright light, and he nodded slowly with a surprised smile. 5 minutes. 7 loops. You're a freak. Haha. I know this guy is special. Young Mu burst into laughter, otherwise, great-grandpa wouldn't bother to orient his position with the immortal blood. Young Mang blinked her adorable eyes and babbled, Another monster. Why are there so many freaks in the Yang family? Shuryen was surprised. Yang Lao smiled briefly. Scanning those on-watching warriors, he announced, "This is a new member of Yang family. My third brother Yang Zhao's grandson, Shuryen. Young Master Yen. Young Master Yen. Young Master Yen." Those steady, strong-built Yang warriors began to cry out. These people were all at high realms and were well known in the Endless Sea. They obeyed the Yang family not only for their history, but also for their every generation's incredible ability. These obstinate warriors served the Yang family because of its great power. They watched for a while and acknowledged Shuryen. At the second sky of Disaster Realm, with 2,000 kilograms weights, he could run 7 loops around the pond in merely 5 minutes. That's literally unbelievable. Shuryen smiled. He hadn't triggered the Rampage to the second sky. He believed if he pushed it to the second sky, his energy would surge twice, and thus he could run at least 10 rounds around the pond. You win, kid. Take the 3 heaven pills. Yang Lao shook his head, smiling. Kid, you won over me so soon. I'm not a generous person. Be careful. I will let you suffer in later training. Shuryen gave a brief smile, and right away took the 3 pills, then grinned. I'm not afraid of troubles. Yang blood does run in your body. You're something. Yang Lao praised with a smile, then looked away. Now I'll get the F*** away. Got nothing to do. Those on-watching warriors then hurriedly left in embarrassment. After those people left, Yang Lao frowned and appeared a bit worried. Xia Shenjuan is still at our home. He would stop training if you go back. He will chase up as soon as he heard you are here. After a pause, Yang Lao gazed at him deeply. Kid, be honest. Can you really wake the Gal Sasanyan? Don't be afraid. It's okay even if you can't. Xia Shenjuan won't do anything, except babbling for a while. It should be fine. Shuryen pondered and replied with a serious face. No problem. Yang Lao couldn't believe his ears. Are you sure? You have to know, there was once another person who got the same disease as Xia Xinyan. The 3 powers in the Kiara Sea tried everything to save her, but failed. Your great-grandpa said, unless someone got a soul-related treasure that is suitable for her, or we can't do anything. Shuryen stunned, as he realized that King Yangqing already knew he got the soul-gathering pearl. I'm sure. Nodding his head, Shuryen said, I promise I will wake her up. She fell asleep because she wanted to save me. Definitely I will wake her up. Yang Lao stared at Shuryen for a while, seeing Shuryen as a reliable man. Then he nodded. Okay, I will send someone for Xia Shenjuan. Soon, he ordered loudly, and one warrior walked away quickly to a great mountain. Do you need any help? Yang Lao pondered. There are all sorts of rare materials and medicines in the Yang family. Just name it. Even if we don't have it, we can fetch it for you soon. Your great-grandpa told us we should assist you on this. Shuryen shook his head with a smile. Nothing but a quiet secret room. Yang Lao was stunned. After a thought, he told Young Mu, go to the No. 1 mountain and find a best crystal room. Okay. Young Mu swaggered away. Your great-grandpa is not at home this moment. And he took the immortal cannon with him. After he's back, you just have to drop 1 blood into the cannon and then you are back home. Meanwhile, you will possess the immortal formula from the immortal cannon. Yang Lao though for a while, wake up Xia Xinyan first until then. Yeah, I know. Yang Lao. Before long, from a nearby mountain, a dash of bright light shot out. I heard the kid Shuryen has come back? Xia Shenjuan's angry voice came before he even approached. A tall, thin, white-bearded old man with a feather cap suddenly stood still in front of Shuryen, and he stared at Shuryen, his eyes like torches. You are Shuryen. Shuryen nodded with an embarrassed smile. Well, let me make it brief, Xia Shenjuan grunted. If you can't wake Xinyan up, I won't spare you. But if she wakes up, I will let you go. As long as she wakes up. I will wake her up safe. Shuryen got serious, I bet. You do. I do. Xia Shenzhuan was a little surprised, as he couldn't understand why Shiryan was so confident. However, he was expecting for it now as he nodded, "Do it then." "Second grandpa, it's all done." Yang Mu shouted, standing on a cliff. "Xiaoyan, come over now. Let's go. Let me show you something." Yang Lao nodded with a smile, caught Shiryan, and flew out. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.